Welcome to the Once Blind Podcast. Your host, Carlos.
All right, this is Once Blind. You guys already know. I've been so excited for this episode. I got Patriot Position. I got the beautiful, lovely. How you doing? Anyway, so guys, introduce yourselves, please.
That was a great intro, by the way.
Thank you, thank you.
My name is Luis Lopez. Very happy to be here. This is going to be an interesting discussion.
Where am I looking? Right there?
Yeah.
My name is Shay. I'm very excited to be here, too. Been looking forward to it all week. So
Nice. So we're going to start this with a bang because we got some great news.
Drum roll.
We can do that, but I'm not even set for it. But so what we have is we got a not guilty
Yes.
verdict,
God bless.
right?
As it should be.
And I mean, we were all scared. Let's be
Very
honest.
scared.
There was no way.
Ohio-ridden houses.
Yeah. And here we go. We got not guilty.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about that?
Shay.
I'm super excited and super happy. That there was more to it than just, whether it's simple, plain and black and white, whether he's guilty or not. It gives everyone the opportunity to still be able to defend themselves and be able to, bear arms, which is amazing.
Right.
The people who don't necessarily agree with the verdict are the ones who didn't watch the trial, who didn't watch the facts, and just seeing people's reaction and race baiting with this, it's really disheartening because if you knew the facts, you wouldn't look so ignorant with the comments that you're making. This has nothing to do with black versus white.
Right.
It's someone defending themselves while also trying to protect themselves and help other people. He was out there with gloves. I see people making comments, well, why was he wearing gloves? He had a first aid kit to help people who needed help. This is a 17-year-old kid. This isn't someone, if he wanted to, and people try to say, oh, well, he's a mass murderer and he went out there and he was just ready to just kill people. He could have did that if he wanted to.
Yeah.
He could have just opened fire and just shot at everybody that was just burnt. They were burning down buildings. That's what I don't understand.
Usually that's what active shooters do.
They don't get no warning. I'm coming out there to kill. That's not what it was. And the facts through the trial, if you watch the trial, that's what it shows. So to see people so upset and trying to make this about race and Black Lives Matter and things like that, Black Lives Matter has nothing to do with any of this because you guys were burning down businesses. You were burning down people's livelihoods. And this kid was trying to protect these businesses. And I believe it was a gas station, correct? The gas station was owned by two Indian men.
No, that not the gas station. The gas. The two Indian men you're talking about was the car lot.
Okay, the car lot. But if he's such a white supremacist, that narrative does not fit.
There's a lot of things about this that just kind of makes this a little too obvious that it's not racially motivated. I mean, like you said, he literally went there to help protect. There were two Indian men. They asked him to protect their business. He gladly helped. He didn't point his gun or threaten anybody's life until somebody threatened his first, which is kind of how the law works. If somebody threatens your life, just now, what I want people to understand, because like people keep saying, I keep seeing people say, well, he brought the gun. Okay, he brought the gun. Okay, when a cop walks in somewhere with his gun, do you automatically feel like I gotta attack him because he has his gun out in the open? No, because he's permitted to carry his gun. In the state of Wisconsin, he was permitted to open carry his gun. So just because you don't like that fact doesn't mean you decide now, oh, well, I don't like the fact that he's walking around with a gun, so I'm going to take this into my own hands and I'm going to attack him. And if he attacks me back, then he must clearly be a murderer. And it's like, that's not how it works. I mean, that's just not how the law works. So I've seen a lot of people get this epically wrong. I've seen so many people get this thing so wrong. And
Especially in Jersey, because our gun laws, we can't understand.
You can't understand it.
Right, exactly. We live in a different world in New Jersey than in Wisconsin or in Texas, where the laws are, they're
Different.
And they what's the word I'm looking for? It's just better for people who own guns and things like that. Like, these are the places people go to when they want to own guns. Nobody that wants to be a gun owner be like, I want to go to New Jersey.
That's fact.
No.
Or New York.
Or New York, exactly.
You know what I mean?
You said something, right? He had his gun. If he wanted to open fire, he could have, right? And that just, I don't know why, but popped into my head, school shooters, right?
Exactly.
With school shooters, do they showed up with a first aid kit?
Right.
No, right?
Right.
They don't even give you a warning. Actually, if they like you, they call you the day before and tell you to stay home.
Right.
But they just go in and blast.
Exactly.
But also, as far as having a gun out, one of the assailants, the one that he shot and didn't die, the one who lost part of his arm, he had a gun. He was openly carrying as well. He shot in the air where there was a helicopter up there. Yeah, there was a helicopter taking video footage. Yeah. So, I mean, the thing is,
criminal.
Yes, very
I didn't
criminal.
even know that. That's crazy.
And he was a felon, so he wasn't even allowed to own a gun.
Exactly. And they dropped his charge.
Well, yes.
They dropped. So the kid with the legal firearm gets in trouble. The guy with the illegal firearm gets the charge dropped. I mean, this is why people are so confused.
Yes.
This is why people are getting it so wrong. Because, like, well, they dropped this charge, and it's like they're literally manipulating people's minds through
The media.
and through like a perversion of like the facts. Like, they're taking things like, how is
What
it
they want to fit their narrative.
exactly, like, how is it that you drop an illegal gun charge
And a convicted felon
on a convicted felon just so he can testify against a 17-year-old kid that was legally
who
right?
was actually shooting in the air, which is incredibly dangerous. Like, a lot of people who don't shoot guns don't
Goes up,
understand
comes
that.
down.
Exactly. There are tons of people who die every year from some moron somewhere shooting up in the air in celebration or whatever.
Right. And I've seen a lot of people say, why didn't he just shoot in the air?
Because anyone who knows anything about guns knows not to do that.
Right.
A lot of the
incredibly
people that
reckless.
have, and a lot of the, no, you're fine. A lot of the people that have so much to say don't care to own guns. They just want something to say.
Actually interesting because a lot of the anti-gun people since the beginning of COVID have really made it very hard for people like me to buy bullets because they've bought them all out, bought all the guns.
No, of course. They want to be protected.
Yeah.
Come on. You know.
So it's kind of interesting. But with this case and everything, what I've been noticing on social media is people who haven't followed the trial opening their mouths on stuff that they just have no clue about.
No clue. I've seen so many people get it so wrong. And I'm just like, how are you still this far behind when all the details are already available for you?
Absolutely.
How are you still saying that I've still seen people saying he killed black people. I'm like, we've established this a long time ago that he didn't.
It's actually funny because the only black person that was involved in the situation, they call him Jump Kick Man.
Right.
He kicked Kyle in the face while Kyle was down, and he did not get shot.
Right.
So the 4 people that attacked him, only 3 got shot. Those 3 were white guys.
Right. And he didn't shoot the black guy that
You mean the
attacked him.
heroes, right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
they're
Yeah.
And he
heroes.
didn't
Hero.
shoot. And he didn't shoot the black guy that
Pedophilic
attacked him.
heroes. Yes. Well, that's because he's racist.
That's right. You know what? That black guy didn't deserve the bullets.
It must be it.
I guess that's going to be the story next
Oh, yeah.
on that. But they're seeing all those facts and they're just like, I don't really think that that's the way I want this story to go. So I'm going to ignore all that. And it's like,
willful ignorance.
correct. It's so crazy to me. I don't understand.
But at the same time, there was another trial.
Yes.
Andrew Coffey.
Yeah. 5 accounts. Self-defense.
Is that with the SWAT?
Shooting at the SWAT officers.
Was it that one? And he got not guilty. It was self-defense.
It was the same thing that just happened. It just happened around the same time.
It just happened at the same
It
time.
was the same day.
Yeah. And the media wasn't covering that at all.
Well,
Now the response to that would be, oh, that's one out of many. Okay. How many Kyle Rittenhouses happened within this last couple of months? 1 out of 1.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm so confused. Like, people are making it seem like this is just something that's just happening everywhere,
Okay.
every day.
I wanted to make sure before I said the name incorrectly. It is Andrew Coffey. That's his name. Okay. So he was acquitted.
Right.
On all 5
Claimed-
accounts.
Yes. And he
I didn't know there
claimed
were 5.
self-defense after his girlfriend was killed by the sheriff's SWAT team.
No knock warrant, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And they wanted him for attempted first-degree murder.
So he got everything acquitted, right? Here's the interesting part. So you have a picture or a video of Kyle after he got his not guilty, relieved, fell to the ground.
My heart.
Overwhelmed, right?
Right.
Everyone I know was like in tears of joy. When Coffee, got his, which by the way, I like coffee. But anyways, so Coffee, that's ADD for you people. You see him smiling and laughing. Like two completely different reactions. And for me, it's like one knew what he was doing. Now, quite frankly, I don't know the story of Coffee. I'm pretty sure.
I'm not really familiar with it. I gotta read it.
Pretty sure if it is.
That makes me feel weird, though.
What do you mean?
That makes me feel weird that you would just be laughing and smiling, almost like, haha.
Exactly.
That's what I get from it. Not just, oh my God, thank God.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I act very funny with like humor when stuff is gray.
It's funny.
Okay.
Right.
No, but when stuff is gray, I tend to go into dark humor.
Okay.
Right.
And I have that.
It's a mechanism. It's coping, right? But I wouldn't have that. I just got away with this.
Yeah,
Right.
Like that to me was two different people.
Yeah.
But the media didn't cover
Of course
that
they're not, because it
side.
doesn't fit their narrative.
And
That's
that's
the
the
thing.
interesting part is it's so many narratives going on. And again, that's the media's job, right? That's the government's job. I mean, they've been doing that since the beginning of time.
Correct.
They've taken everything we've done as human beings to better ourselves, and they've been the ones to take credit for it. So I get it. But us as citizens, as people, right, who are living in this country, when are we going to stop blindly following things and actually do some type of research and study, especially with Christians? I discussed with you guys. I had 2 people so-called unfriend me or stop following because the discussion that we had, they tried to bring God into it, and it didn't fit any narrative, not only the biblical one, but even what's going on in the world.
Right.
And the part that shocks me is, like, are you not even looking? Are
No.
you? And that's the same thing with our politics now, with everything that we've done. It's just so much blindness. But then those that should stand up or those that should go out and make that noise so that things can be heard, they're not doing it either.
I think it takes a certain kind of person or a certain kind of persons to actually just say, you know what? I don't care if I lose friends. I don't care if I lose family members, because my purpose and what I'm seeing, other people should know this. And if you decide to look into it, the reason why I post certain things on my page, I'm posting because it's insane to me, right? So it's like I post it also because there's a lot of people who look at my stuff, but they won't comment. But I've noticed over a time period, people will send little 100% or heart emojis and things like that, but they won't get into it with me. But that's fine. Because if I'm just dropping little seeds along the way and you're looking at it like, did this really happen? How come I'm not? And then they go and research it. Then I've done what I'm supposed to do and my little job. So I see people. There's one girl I had posted about the Ghislaine Maxwell trial that's coming up. And I'm like, well, how come we're not hearing anything about that? And she commented, I was like, that's the trial we want to see. It shouldn't have been this Kyle Rittenhouse, you know? So I'm like, this is what we need to see. But because it's such a high profile case, they're going to try to protect every one of, you know, your America's sweethearts and whoever that you know, so many people idolize.
Yeah, they don't want to shatter
they don't want to, they don't want to do that. And she just sent like 100%. And I was like, oh, wow. For this person, I was like, I'm so impressed to see that you agree with this. And she's like, no, I've noticed over the past couple of weeks how this world is changing and it's so scary. And I'm like, you know what? That's perfect. And I've seen her look through my stuff multiple times. So I know a lot of people see what's going on, but a lot of people are really comfortable in their little bubble. And they're just like, you know what? I can't say anything. There's so many people that want to say things, but I can't because I have a business, or I can't because I do this. You know what? At some point, you have to stand up, especially when it comes to your children and their future and your future. Stand up.
People are acting like you're gonna get like burnt at the stake.
There's so many
if you
more
say- if you
conservative
say
supporters
something like
that
now.
you will gain.
Like they feel like you're gonna be like burned at the stake in front of the whole city or something. Like it's like it's fine. You know, you can say what you want. Like if you believe it, yeah, people are gonna be upset. But guess what? That's all they can do is be upset. At the end of the day, it's a disservice to yourself to lie to yourself. I mean,
That's a fact.
to hold back on the facts because you're scared of how people are gonna feel or what they're gonna say. Look at you. I'm presenting facts. If you disagree, do the research, present your case to me,
Right.
prove me wrong.
Right.
No.
If not, be quiet.
Right.
But what we have now is people that just emotionally respond. They don't even try to give you an educated response. They don't try to give you an actual fact in response to what you just said. It's just all emotional based.
Because they can't.
Well, no, they've been prepped for this for years. Look at our sports and the way they've changed. Everyone gets a trophy.
Yep.
Right. Self-esteem started in the 70s. It really got pushed through the 80s. Now we can't call a hoe a hoe. We can't call fat people. Hey guys, I'm fat. We can't say anything to anyone because we have to worry about someone else's feelings. And at the meantime, we have pharmaceuticals dulling our feelings with meds. So we're dulled out in one sense, and then we got to watch everything else we do because other people are going to get offended.
There's a fragility now in people that I have never in my life seen. And it used to be like, a handful of people were like, oh, she's my special aunt. Or, that special cousin. Yeah. But now it's like everybody. Like, you don't know a person who is stable and emotionally okay and not struggling with something or not on some medication. And it's like...
You know what it is? People have the whole world in their hands now. So they have more things to stress about now. I mean, it's a lot of things they shouldn't be stressing about, but they stress themselves out about it. Yeah. For instance, celebrity gossip or whatever news. I watch people with, grown people with kids that like track and follow what these people do, their relationships. I'm like, imagine if you paid that much attention to your own relationship.
Or to your own kids.
To your own children. I mean, come on. Like, at a certain age, it was understandable.
Right.
You have the posters on the wall, But, you're a 32-year-old grown up with a family. Like,
and you're worried about Kourtney Kardashian getting engaged.
Why are you worried about
cares?
Kim Kardashian?
Or they were just
Pete
in
Davidson?
whatever. Exactly. They were just whatever island. They went to this island. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Right. And this is what they go crazy for, right? So they'll parade this thing. They'll do everything. They'll show undoubtedly support towards these people. And then if you support Donald Trump or something, they'll say, yo, you're crazy. Like, you're a cult.
Trumpster.
But it's even more than that.
Racist.
It's even more than that. We know people who know the intricacies of every single rap battle.
Right.
Like the beef between everybody.
Right.
Like, oh, that guy has this beef and this.
Right.
They know back from like 20-something years.
Right.
And the first time and the second time and the third, they could run it all down to you. But then you say something about your local politics or something that's happening in your community, and they're like, bro, that's corny.
Yeah.
That's corny. Don't even talk to me about that. That's corny. It's
I can't stand
what?
It. So it's corny to be worried about something that's going to affect your life.
Your children.
And your children. But it's not corny to be sitting around with a bunch
Pretend
of
beef.
other grown men.
Pretend beef that two rappers have.
So speaking of rappers, there's something I screenshotted. And it said, what if Kyle Rittenhouse was black? That's everyone's whole thing, right? The rapper.
Well, we don't have to worry. We don't have to imagine.
The rapper,
a black
the baby.
person got off the same day.
The baby, right? The baby shot and killed a man who threatened his life inside a North Carolina Walmart. Yep. And the charges were dropped 4 months later.
Rightfully so.
So that whole, what if he was black? Well, the baby was. And I actually think that the baby got away with that twice. There were 2 charges like that. And he in self-defense. And I'm like,
hey, listen,
someone needs to be watching that baby because if 2 people are attacking him.
That's what I'm saying. It kind of sounds more like a serial killer kind of thing, but that's what I'm saying.
Listen, good for him. You know what I mean? Somebody shot at him, he shot back. And he went home to his kids. That's what I tell people. I'm too I'm like, get your gun license, man. If you're gonna drive around with a gun in the car all day and you're gonna ride around with guns, just if you don't have any, just go get it. What's the problem? What's the problem? Just
in
go
some
get
states, it's very easy to.
it. it's a good chance. I understand that, it's hard.
But in every state, it's still constitutionally illegal. There is nothing in the Constitution that says we need a license. But yes.
That's how they want to track who has.
Exactly. But look, if it's the law, you keep the law, right? But that being said, they're not constitutionally sound.
Constitution matters, doesn't it?
That's why when we said upstairs, the little tweaks they make. It's not little. This is a major change. Yep. So now I have to wait until you tell me I can have it. And like I said, what if I'm in the process of me waiting, I'm robbed or my house is broken into? I couldn't protect myself because I had to wait until you told me it was okay.
That happens to women all the time. They'll try to go get a gun because a man, a former partner of theirs, is harassing them. They're scared for their lives. They try to get a gun, but it takes months. And by the time their gun license comes through, they're dead.
But it's not even that. So here in New Jersey, we have to meet the violence with the same violence, right? Yeah. So someone breaks into my house and he comes in with a knife and I pull out my gun. I have to go, wait, time out. I got to put my gun down. I'm going to go grab a knife real quick so I can meet you.
How big is your knife?
How big is your knife? Let's match up. All right, good. Now we can attack.
That is so...
But there's more, because if they come into your house, in New Jersey, you have the responsibility to run away. You can't just shoot because they're in your house. Now, we have 7 kids. Imagine trying to get us out and our 7 kids out so that the thief can have the house.
And people think this is the way. This is the way to do it. No.
But it's a lot of prepping. And even with the things that we've been talking about, right? We're more concerned about actors, famous people.
Right.
We're being taught to live through them by proxy. Everything is leading towards this Meta. I think Meta was the one putting a commercial out where you put on, it's like the movie WALL-E.
Metaverse.
Yeah, so the metaverse.
The metaverse, yeah. With,
all that. But you understand that we've been set up for this.
What are they?
Isn't there a show that I just thought of called Black Mirror? Wasn't there a show where they had the VR thing and it actually took you out of your reality? And
almost everything that's been on that show,
of course,
has started to come true.
Of course,
the robot dog.
Oh my gosh!
It's on the police force.
Hawaii.
The police force have a robot dog.
Yeah. He takes a temperature of homeless people in Hawaii.
Social credit. There was an episode about
we need to look back at that whole series.
There was an episode about basically how many likes do you get? And if you don't get a lot of likes, you can't buy a certain apartment. It's like, what? And it's like, okay, that sounds kind of crazy. And then when you look at China's social credit system, you're like, wait a minute, this is the same thing.
Well, Andrew Yang, who ran for president, that was his idea. I mean, obviously he got it from China because they already did it. But everybody was pumping this guy up.
Wasn't he running for something in New York too? Yang.
He was running for mayor, I think.
Maybe.
Of New York, yeah.
I think he ran for mayor.
That's a possibility.
Or governor. Yeah. I can't remember.
One or the other.
One of the two.
Well, I know people that thought that he was the best of all evils. What do they say?
The better of the two evils.
Better of the two evils.
Which is insane.
And I'm like, but he wanted the social credit score and he wanted universal basic income.
No, thank you.
But again, it almost seems like we're being prepped.
Of course we are.
And then those that are standing against this system are the racists, which according to their narrative, we can't be racist because we're minorities, but yet they still call us racist.
Isn't that funny?
I'm over 21 though.
How they
It's a joke about being minors. Sorry.
It's funny to me how they contradict themselves so much and nobody can see it.
I know, it's ridiculous.
But no, it's no one's calling it out. It's 3-card Monty all over again. Right? When 3-card Monty was the thing, everyone knew you were about to get played. Everyone knew you're about to get hustled. But we're not going to call it out. So then you're a part of the problem.
Exactly.
Because normally that was the hustle. I had a couple people, and then we'd bring in one dummy, and we'd try to trick him, and then you'd be like, oh, no, that was legit. Oh, no, that's legit. Everyone's saying that's legit because they're a part of the problem.
Exactly. And that's what you have now. They have drones out here. They're all a part of it now. Because they're parroting, and they're not just parroting it; they're doing it with like a conviction, like you're wrong, be quiet, don't say that. And it's like, but the facts are these are the facts. No,
right?
And it's like, wow, you know what I mean? Like we're really just being told to be quiet,
or you're saying too much on the internet. We're banning you.
Like there's people that There's people that will
Wrong speak.
There's like random people that will like inbox you like something nasty because of how is what I'm doing like
Really affecting you so much.
you so much that you have to inbox me like a nasty remark or feel like it's really hurting you. I'm not doing anything that's hurting you. Like, I don't understand it. But that's what I said. It's like a hive mind mentality. It's like
correct.
They're all like synced. And it's crazy.
Well, they keep each other in check like the masks.
That's true.
The masks were about keeping each other in check. I'm not, it's not enough for me to wear one. I need you to wear one.
Right.
I'm not going to be the only one. And I'm going to make an issue of it. And I'm going to embarrass you and make you leave here if you don't wear it because I'm scared. Right. So it's not enough for me to wear it. You're going to wear it.
You need to be scared as I am.
Yep. And that's the vaccine. The vaccines or the jab. It's the same thing. It's not enough for me to be protected with
yourself
it.
And say the jab.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's the idea. And we're trying to stand. And I think the issue is, and I think this is kind of where Patriot Position started, is just tired of being censored, tired of being held down, and looking for like-minded people who have enough chutzpah, okay, to say what's on their mind, stand up for what's in their hearts, and be able to, I don't know. It's like we turned into the homosexuals of the 80s, and we're loud and we're proud, and now we're the ones making noise because we're being ignored.
Exactly. It's so crazy because you said that. It's funny. When I started it, like the very moment that I realized, the very moment that I had that epiphany, like, wow, I immediately started. I was like, oh wait, people need to know this. People have to know this. Why don't people know this? I immediately started, and I was excited to do it. Yeah. Like, I was like, wow, people don't know this. Oh my God, they're gonna be so like, when they find this out, they're gonna be like, wow. And then I started telling people like, oh, you're crazy. Yep. And I'm like, wow, that's not the response.
You're brainwashed. You're brainwashed.
I'm brainwashed.
Exactly. You have all this information.
You're all parroting and mimicking each other. Yep. But we're brainwashed. Okay.
At what point did you decide over there?
It's so funny that you're saying that. That was actually my leading question as to what he said.
I'd like to know, and we'll get to him next. At what point did your brain get turned on?
Partially turned on. Okay. When my daughter was born in 2012. I started noticing certain things. This is when Instagram was kind of started becoming a thing. And, you can click into certain hashtags and see certain things. And I was seeing certain things about celebrities. And I'm like, oh, whoa, this is kind of dark. Because I wanted to get into the music industry. Okay. So I was looking at it and I was like, it made me feel some type of way. And then as you kept going down certain different, posts, you go into other posts and I'm just like, oh my God. And it's like, I wanted more. And I'm like, well, what and this and then this and this. That was partially. And I kind of always been very aware of certain things, but I was like, no, back then it was labeled the Illuminati, right? So I'm like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, but I don't know if I believe that. And then, I think when it really, really hit me, honestly, where I decided like full blown, everything was definitely during quarantine.
Okay.
And it was more like, I saw videos on Instagram of China and bodies on the floor and sheets over the bodies and people like dead and hospitals overflowing. I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, is this coming here? This looks like, like insane. Like, and I got scared. I got scared. And I was like, oh my God, well, what are we going to do? Like, is this airborne? Like, I didn't know. So when they locked everything down, everyone was certain people that were essential. Were going to work. And I was just like, my man, I'm like, when you come home, take everything off at the door. I'm spraying everything down, put it in a bag, take a shower, don't touch nothing. You know what I mean? And then it's like a couple of days went by, a couple of weeks went by. Well, he's not getting sick. He's not falling on the floor. We're not covering him up. Well, okay, like what's going on? And then, they left liquor stores open. That was the biggest flag for me. And I'm like, how is that essential? And then it's like, well, we're going to leave open, Panera and Target and Costco. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold on 1 second. Like, what's going on? And then I'm like, but why? And I asked my mom, like, well, why are they leaving liquor stores open? And her response was, well, people are dependent on liquor, so they have to leave it open for those who may have withdrawals and they don't want to clog up the hospitals. And I'm like, but that doesn't seem essential to me. You know what I mean? And then it's like one rabbit hole led to another rabbit
Why
hole.
don't you leave the rehab center open?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you leave the gyms open? Why wouldn't you leave,
Or why not get the liquor for free if it's that about
essential? Right, exactly.
I'll take my bourbon, please. Thank you.
So I was like, that was my moment. And then I started learning about, the Epstein Island and the flight logs and things like that. And that's where my disconnect with celebrities came in full blown. And I was just like, all these people. And then it was like, clips of things that they're doing. And I'm like, whoa, like, and something inside me, my spirit was just like, no, this is 100% correct. This isn't right. This is making me feel some type of way. And then I started just looking more into it. And it was just at that moment. And then after a while, I was like, it's the masks and the no masks. And wear it if you feel sick, but don't wear it if you don't feel sick. And everybody has to wear it. And it's like, oh, okay, we're going back and forth here. Like, what's going on? Like, it was just too much. It almost seemed like they hadn't thoroughly thought it out yet.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like, well, we're going to say this. Let's see how they take this. We're going to say this. Let's see how they take this. We're going to leave everything open. And you can be side by side next to the person who has a mask on, but no one is dying, like straight off of contact. And I was just like, everything's a lie, like at that moment. And then it took me down the rabbit hole of like, conservatives and Donald Trump. And I'm like, you know what? This man is not racist. Like, and it's just so many different things started to open up. And I think that was my moment. And not for nothing, none of this is fun. Okay. Like us being consciously aware as to what's going on in this world, I feel like I'm living in a simulation. Yeah. I feel like nothing is real. I feel like the world is a stage. And I just feel like, what's next? That's the thing. And I had to make a decision. I'm a business owner. I have my own dessert business and catering business. Do I speak up on this and risk the people that I've known all my life looking at me like I'm a loony person? Or do I say, you know what? I don't care. This is my truth. This is how I feel. Why not be able to vocally speak it out the way you did when fraudulent Joe Biden won? Right. And you're like, oh, we did it, Joe. Like, you did that in my face.
They were allowed to be loud.
They were allowed to be so loud. Now, where's that loudness?
Yeah.
You did this.
They don't even want us to, I'm sorry. They don't even want us to sing Let's Go Brandon. They find it disrespectful.
Oh, wait.
They beat dolls of...
I'm going to hit the wrong button. I know I'm going to.
Let's go Brandon. Let's go Brandon. Let's go Brandon.
You're not singing.
Sorry. So they don't even, you don't like it when I sing.
That's
so,
right. Go ahead.
So they don't want us to do that, but they had that gigantic balloon of baby Trump in a diaper for a good 3-4 years. They had that thing at everything.
They were simulating murder on Trump dolls.
That's fact.
Outside the White House.
Yeah.
Literally. Right in the front.
They had celebrities singing songs about murdering him and blowing up the White House.
He's actually the president with the most assassinations on him ever. Like, I think don't quote me, but between 30 to 60 attempts of assassination.
Oh, wow.
So.
Yeah. Well, they didn't put none of that, most of that in the media.
No, of course not.
I kind of liked it for me when you were talking about that music-wise. I used to like Eminem way back in the day. And
when he was actually Eminem, not the clone?
Yes. So I used to, and once in a while, I would still buy his stuff just to support him. Right? Like, I still buy stuff Wu-Tang does, and they haven't done anything good in years. Right.
Sorry.
You okay there? I put COVID in your water.
Don't worry, you'll live. You're fine.
So I used to buy. You're right there.
I choked on it, but I didn't want to cough on the mic. Sorry.
She held it down.
Joke for later. So I used to buy a lot of M&Ms.
While we're doing this,
Yeah, go ahead. Finish.
Well, we're going to cut this whole clip out. What'd you call it?
Babysitting.
Getting kind of toasty. Achoo.
Well, that's what the rocks are for.
Yeah, bro.
The bottom part.
Brother, your feet work. He's gonna cut it out anyway. Got coughing, sniffles.
Yeah, man.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Is everyone done dying? All right. So I used to buy a lot of Wu-Tang stuff, regardless if they were good or not anymore, because, I mean, they haven't been good since 36 Chambers and forever. But just to support them, just to be able to do, you know, just put money in their pocket. And Eminem was one of those that after like 2 or 3 albums, I was like, all right, I'm still going to buy stuff just to put money in the guy's pocket. But then one time on BET, he drew that line, and either you're for this or that, and if you're for Trump, you're against me, and I don't want you as a fan.
Bye.
It's like, bro, you know how much money I put in your pocket? Okay? And your music sucked at the time. Like,
Yeah, he lost his touch.
and it was like, it's like, all right, bet. But I started thinking, like, you're the guy who was going against the media when the media was going against you, going against a couple people in the White House that were going after his music.
Right.
When did you become a puppet?
Right.
When his music started to suck and he needed to get some type of money some way, somehow. So this is what we're going to do. You do this, we got you.
But that's the whole thing. Even today we read, God, what's that horrible actor's name?
Mark Ruffalo?
Ruffalo. Yeah, that guy.
My God.
And his whole take on JoJo.
Yeah.
Hey, JoJo. Like,
Joseph Rosenbaum.
yeah, but he called him JoJo. Like, at what point are we giving rapists and pedophiles cute nicknames?
Cute puppy names.
You know, like Dahmer, he's going to be my D. Like that. Like, come on. Are you kidding me? Like, what the hell's going on?
Well,
You like that one?
with the thing with that, I say is Hollywood supporting pedophiles. It's not a
No,
shock.
Hollywood
Well,
is filled.
did you ever think Weinstein was going to be the least scumbag of them all?
No.
Like,
I heard Weinstein
And,
was actually born
he's
a woman,
not
by
even,
the way.
he's nowhere near the big fish.
Explains a lot.
no, but that's the point. Like, they went after him because, all right, listen, I'm not saying
Fall
what he
guy.
did is right.
Right.
Okay. But he definitely wasn't the
No,
biggest.
he's not the head. He's not the head. No.
of course not.
They gave us you know, they gave us
Little
the
appetizers.
Here you go.
Well, that like Epstein, they gave us Epstein.
Yeah.
Epstein is nobody.
Who didn't kill himself, by the way.
Just in
Yes.
case you didn't know about
Want to
that.
know who he was working for.
Just like the Christmas lights outside, they did not hang themselves.
Right. Right. And then who was he working for?
I like that one.
Who was he working for?
That
'Cause
wasn't me.
He was clearly operating what is it, like a honey pot operation?
Yes, absolutely.
Where he was basically inviting people there, telling them, hey, yeah, do what you want. Have fun. And then after, I got it on video, by the way. Now you're gonna
Ghislaine
do what I-
Maxwell's
now you're gonna do what I
dad.
said.
Ghislaine Maxwell's dad was doing that.
Oh, Robert Maxwell,
Yes, right. He did it for the
the government.
the English one. What do they call something?
Goodness. Partridge? I don't know what it's called.
M69. What do they call?
Oh, M16. No, M16's a gun.
No, they're like they're CIA. Or,
Yes,
I
their
know
version.
yeah.
And then he was buried in Israel. That's neither here nor there. But
Interpol.
Interpol. No, it wasn't Interpol. But anyway,
MI6.
MI6. He worked for MI6. And then his daughter had all the contacts. Ghislaine had all the contacts off.
Yeah.
And little known fact, but Ghislaine's sister runs a like orphaned children foundation.
Oh, like Oprah?
Yeah.
Or like Mother Teresa.
Or like the
Mother
Clintons?
Mother Teresa.
Mother Teresa's
Mother
another
Teresa was in pictures with
With Robert.
Ghislaine Maxwell's dad.
I've seen
Yep.
them. You start to paint the picture here, you know? You start to paint a certain picture and it's like, it's not a good looking picture.
It's so ironic when people are like, what are you, Mother Teresa?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Absolutely not.
But you know that was far a long time ago, and those people are probably long dead. Those children that God knows what they did to them. However, this year, our current government regime has lost 7,000 children that we know of and that they've admitted to.
Wow.
I like to remind people that they've admitted to, because we don't have a number of how many people have come in and out. Right, so 7,000 children that came in through the border have been lost. 1 out of every 3 children is lost.
It's almost like the 4,000 or 450,000 is a payment rather than.
Basically, he said it.
Let's
He pointed at somebody's his fingers. If you lost your child, You deserve some sort of compensation.
And let's touch
So,
base on that.
You deserve compensation for breaking the law with
There
your
you go.
child in your possession.
There you go.
In your custody. Now, I can tell you right now, if I break the law with my child in my custody,
right.
I
You're
am
going to jail.
not getting
And you're not getting your child back.
That's
$450,000.
right. That's right.
At all.
There's a lot of people that they owe money to them because there's been a lot of people arrested for drinking a little or something like that, having their kid in the car.
Exactly.
Or walking around with something they shouldn't have been walking around with. And they
Basically-
get arrested and their kids get taken.
So basically, what we're saying, it's okay to break the law
Yep.
if it benefits you. If it benefits you, break the law. Go ahead. Enjoy. That's the message you send.
But yeah, absolutely. And when doesn't it benefit you to break the law?
Exactly.
It's more like benefits them.
It is. It's about
True.
buying our silence. It's all about buying our silence.
That's very true. It's very true.
But hey, listen, if we just talk gibberish, we'll become president too.
If I have this would be my campaign right here. There'd be 6 people in the room. Add some sound effects.
No, you got to add the Dominion machines too, of course.
Well, that's right.
Guaranteed wins, baby.
That's not
What is it? What did you call it the other day?
Fortified.
Yes, we need to
New York
fortify
Times called it
elections.
fortified election.
So now, Mr. Lopez, tell us, but not George Lopez. So you're not the cool Lopez. But either way.
I'm cooler.
No. So at what point was the flip switched for you?
I'd have to say probably like around was it the first impeachment? No, probably around the second one. Because I remember the night Donald Trump won presidency. I was scared.
Me too.
I was terrified.
I was
terrified.
I was so hurt. I was like,
I was literally sitting TV like, babe, he just won. Oh my God. Like I was really sitting there scared. Like, and then like 3 years went by and I'm like, okay, he's kind of a D head. But I mean, my life isn't really like
right, you don't have people
worse.
outside
So, like,
burning
whatever.
crosses
And then
on your yard.
And then like COVID. So my youngest, he was born February 2019. So it was like right around the time COVID was just making its first appearance in the United States. So I was terrified, you know what I mean? I was terrified from that. Then you start spend a lot of time at home, you start picking up on the conspiracy theories and things like that. But I realized I'm like, for me, it was a combination of things. But a little bit before COVID, I started to support Donald Trump and everything he was doing because I'm like, I don't think that this guy is the person that they're telling me he is. Like, it's just not adding up to me. Like, I don't see what they're saying. What they're saying, I'm not seeing. He's showing me something different. Right. Is he a little loose and, rough around the edges?
Unfiltered.
Unfiltered, yeah. But I said, you know what? I don't see that as a negative. I see that as
Right.
I like it.
as a sign of relief.
Right.
He's being honest. He's being real. We need a real person to talk and speak real, and speak freely and say things that we really need to hear and not what we want to hear. And I tell you all the time, like, he's like your father or like, like your doctor. Like, yeah, you don't want to hear it, but this is the facts. Like, you either take my advice and people didn't want to take his advice and look what happened.
Yeah, that doctor one always gets me. It's like, do you want a doctor who's going to say, hey, it's okay, guy. Don't worry. Listen, it's going to be fine. Just go home and go to rest.
Rainbows.
Or you want the guy to say, hey, listen, you're dying of cancer, dumbass. Let's get you into chemo. Let's get you into this. Let's get you into that. Let's get you better.
Right.
I'd rather that guy, even though I think chemo's a scam. But either way, I want the guy who's going to say the non-beautiful things and get me to where I need to get to, rather than the guy
A
that...
beautifully gifted lie.
Yeah, and I go home and then I die in my sleep when you could have
You
at
died
least
that
given
night,
me,
sir.
gave me something to go by.
Exactly.
And I think, listen, Trump as a human being, I've never really liked the guy. And see, I have a decade on most of you, and I knew Trump with Mike Tyson. Okay, when him and Don King were screwing Mike Tyson, but he was friends with Tyson, which never made sense to me. He was ones that bought out certain rappers' music. He did this. So the people he was with. Then I also remember the hip hop I grew up with, where everyone wanted to be Trump.
And
it was
referred
Pimp
him in
Trump.
Yep.
Okay, he was the man. You wanted money like Trump. You wanted this like Trump.
You wanted a girl
You want
like
the
Trump.
girls like Trump. everything was about Trump being that totem pole of where you wanted to get to.
Where you want to be.
Okay. And then all of a sudden, he made the one mistake. He ran for president.
As a Republican.
Yes,
people
because
thought it was a joke.
when he ran as a Democrat, no one had a problem with him.
Right, of course.
Okay. It was till he ran as a Republican, as a conservative Republican, because that was the thing for me why I could vote for him. Because when I became a Christian and I started taking on conservative roles, it's like, okay, I am pro-life.
Yep.
Okay. I am pro-Second Amendment. Okay. I am pro a lot of the things that we as conservatives stand for, and they stand closest to what the Bible is. Right. And a lot of people don't know that a lot of these conservative laws have Judeo-Christian values to them. They came out of Judeo-Christianity. And now all we do is we call those conservative, which is fine. Call it whatever you want, as long as we're staying true to them.
Right.
And he, not all of them, okay, because he wasn't perfect, but he had a lot of them that he was fighting for and standing for. In fact, within 3 days of his presidency, he defunded Planned Parenthood. Okay, how many of these presidents before him said that they were pro-life, but they kept putting millions of dollars into...
Well, I don't think he defunded Planned Parenthood, but
he tried.
He got rid of the Hyde Amendment, which was the Hyde Amendment sends our tax money to foreign countries to murder babies over there.
Okay. Didn't he try to defund within 3 days?
He tried.
Okay. That's what I said try.
No, I know. But he definitely got rid of the Hyde Amendment, which is the same thing. He got rid of abortions, but not... It's harder to do it here than other countries. But he also, I remember somebody from a historically black university known as the HBCUs went in one year to get funding.
Yeah.
And he gave it to them.
Yeah, he gave them funding for a few years.
Well, when they came back the second year, exactly. He was like, "Didn't I see you last year?
Why do you keep coming back?"
Exactly.
He's like, "Here, just take this."
To 2025.
You mean not Harvard, not Yale, none of these predominantly white schools, supposedly.
But it was
the black ones.
Until 2025.
He's so
Racist
racist
bastard.
for that. Yeah.
Worst racist ever.
But speaking of racist, Joe
Doing
Biden
it wrong,
got rid
Donnie.
of it.
Joe Biden got rid of it. Yes,
Got
he
rid
did.
of it the first day.
Of course,
The
'cause
first
that's
day
the-
he was president.
That's what you call pro-black right there.
Yeah.
That's
The
pro-black.
first day he was president. That's how much it weighed on him. The first day he was
He was
president.
unsigning everything that he put
Like, how do
into
people
But
not
why
look
that
at that?
one?
Like,
You know what I mean? But
your
like, why
first-
that
because
one?
we're not going to have successful
Your first order of
black
business?
Americans in this country. No, we want you to depend on us, the government.
Facts.
You're not going to move forward on your own and become, another Ben Carson. You're not going to become successful like this. Like, no. We own you. We tell you what to do, right? Didn't he use a
Facts.
saying as they're going to put you back in shackles? And that's it. That's
chains.
essentially what he did by taking away that funding. Why would you do that?
Absolutely.
Why would you do that?
But more than that, I was speaking to a female, Latin female, and I was explaining to her that I don't understand how the Democrat community claims to champion women and minorities, but when Trump put in all these loans for minority women specifically to be able to get their own businesses, so he would give special loans to minority women to start their own businesses. Under those 4 years that he was president, why wasn't the people who championed for women in the black community and the Latino community, why weren't they telling you this?
Because
Why couldn't they put their little...
Put your beef to the side.
Put your little whatever it is to the side and say, you know what? This is good.
Thank you. This is what I'm saying. Because it reminds me of an unstable relationship when they break up and you can never say a good thing about that person ever again.
Right.
It's like, well, that person's never done anything good now because you two aren't together.
They've successfully turned Donnie into the terrible ex-boyfriend.
Exactly. But the thing is this, we have something in common to people that hate each other, right? You have those children in common. So if you claim to really care about these people, wouldn't you put your BS beef aside to say, but for Johnny, we're going to do it for Johnny.
Right.
You know what? I don't want him to do whatever, but you want to pay for Johnny to go to college? I might not like you, but you can go ahead and pay for Johnny to go to college.
Right. Come on. Like, exactly. You have, like you just said, that was a perfect example. You have a spouse. You guys don't get along, but you do what's best for the child, don't you? That's it. You can go home and I can't stand it.
Right.
But at least he did what he's supposed to do.
Exactly. He's garbage, but you know what? At least he helped us out.
Yeah, let's not start any beef so we don't, kill the cash cows, they would say.
Right.
Whoever's taking care of business. And that's the thing for me. Like, there's so many people I can disagree with.
Right.
There's so many people who, you know what, I may agree with 50%. So I'm going to focus on the 50% rather than, all right, I don't like 50% of this guy, so I'm going to kick him completely out and go with the guy who I agree 2% with.
Right. Does it make sense?
Well, anybody that knows me knows I have a lot of contempt for Obama for many, many reasons. But when he passed the insurance bill, Obamacare, he made it so that all moms could get a breast pump. And I was like, well, that was brilliant. And that should have been a thing always, but I'm grateful he did it.
Right.
And to this day, I always say he might have not done most things right, but at least he did that, and that was the correct thing to do.
Right.
I don't understand how you can have such hate and animosity in your heart that you can't even be honest with yourself, because you're lying to yourself.
Right.
Well, again, it's the mentality of what we've been kind of forced to be.
Conditioned.
Yeah, and it's groomed.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
it's a different.
It's groomed because we're now being
more than just conditioning. I think it's gone a little bit like too far. It's not conditioning anymore. It's almost like you better think this way or else.
Right. You're right.
Or else, like
It's a
not
bully.
just,
It's
I'm
a
gonna
bullying.
It's not
It's
like,
a bullying
it's
mechanism.
bullying. It's not like I'm gonna try to, I'm gonna try. It's like, no, you're gonna think like this or else. Period. That's it.
But it's also hilarious that it's coming from the side that says you can be anything, you can think of yourself as anything, but
Except
just don't be conservative. Lewis, you can be a lady, and Shea,
you can be a helicopter.
right?
Well, I identify as trans-vaxxed. So
Transvax,
Yeah.
nice.
I like that one.
Nice.
That's crazy. We live in the craziest. I mean,
We do. We're living in a.
I don't know if I can say the craziest because maybe there was a time that was just not recorded
I don't
throughout
feel
history
that.
that was
I do not
crazier.
feel
But
that.
like, I mean,
Nope.
like,
I don't
what
feel that.
is going on?
Nope.
Like, what is going
Nope.
on? Like,
And
people really need to like take a step back and
Nope.
just ask yourself, like, okay, who? Like I said, I tell you, everything you do or you say, ask yourself, who are you doing it for? Who are you living for? Are you living for God or are you living for the devil? Now, I'm not living per se. Then everything that I do is for God,
Right.
But I'm not living for the devil at
Right.
all. Not even a tiny bit. Not even a little bit. You know what I mean? I can say this. I do is like, I do this, and then I do this because I feel as if this is something God would want me to do.
Right.
Certain things, not everything I do, but there's nothing that I do. I would say I'm doing this because I think this is something that the devil would want me to do. Like,
Right.
you get what I'm saying? Like, and it's become cool to be evil. It's become
it's praised.
it's praised. It's like it's the norm. Like,
It's praised by the evil to be evil.
But that's the thing. People who are outside of Christianity who don't believe in prophecy, right? Jesus prophesied.
He did that too. I'm
prophesied.
sure.
Yes, he did.
I'm sure.
But now I can't say the word.
Prophesied.
He said, right, ahead of time, that it would be like in the days of Noah, right? Meaning that evil was everywhere. But it would also be, and he quoted from Isaiah, that those things that are evil, people are going to call good.
Yep.
Those things that are bitter, people are going to call sweet. And then vice versa, those things that are good are going to be considered evil.
Right.
And I mean, in every aspect of it. Look at the family and what they've done with the family, right?
But look at Virginia. There was a Board of Ed, the head of the president of the Board of Ed had a dossier, which is like a list of every parent who had spoken up against them during the Board of Ed, which is crazy, right? So you assume what? You get their name, their address, and because that's obvious, that's in the enrollment paperwork, right? And probably where they live. No, they had anything that had to do with like divorces. And, isn't that crazy? Wow. And anything that had to do with bankruptcy. So they had their bankruptcy statements.
So
and
shame you.
Isn't
How dare
that
you?
insanity?
this is the new world.
Imagine how crazy you have to be as a human being to think that that is acceptable to do because somebody stood up and spoke about the things that they didn't like hearing about their kids, what was happening in school.
Being exposed to, yep.
This is the evolution of doxing. It's not just, okay, we know your name and your address. We know your bank, you claimed bankruptcy 2 years ago. Let's put that information out there. Oh, we see here that you had a DUI 3 years ago too. Let's put that information. It's like, okay, just because I don't agree with you?
Right, that's crazy.
But that's kind of how people fight today.
Yes.
Okay, it's the don't hit me below the belt while I hit you below the belt.
Yes.
Okay, and it's.
And I wouldn't have had to do that if you didn't not agree with me.
Yeah.
If you had not voted for Trump, I wouldn't have said that about your mom.
See, that's the thing. They wrote us off. We're not human anymore.
That's a fact.
Actually,
That is a fact.
we're pure bloods.
We're not human.
Actually,
fact.
you make a point, Louis, because they have said that conservatives see liberals as people who just don't have the facts or their facts are incorrect, while those on the left see conservatives as evil.
Evil. Everything we say is evil.
You're
Everything,
Nazis.
every just
Ironically.
our existence. Period.
Ironically, we're the Nazis. You're asking to see a passport.
Yeah.
They exist, and this is why I said, you know what? I'm making the switch, because what do I look like being a part of a side that just that cries wolf all day,
And complies.
cries wolf, right? I said this is the best way to explain it. 2 years ago, it was I can't breathe. This year, it's choke me harder. It's where do you guys draw the line? And okay, you know what? Maybe we're going in the wrong direction. Maybe the party or the people that I agree with, maybe I need to take a step back and look at some of the things that they're peddling and ask myself deep down inside if these are things that I'm really okay with, or if these are things that I really want to help promote and help push. You people have spent the past 2 days glorifying a pedophile
Yes.
because you think he's a hero.
Well, the funny part is that people don't realize that everything that we do in this country is twofold, right? There's always what we see,
Right.
and what they're sneaking underneath it.
Right. Correct.
And for months and years, what people didn't realize is that while we didn't give a damn whether homosexuals can get married or not,
Right.
Yeah, most
Okay.
of us were like, yeah, who cares?
it's like whatever.
Mind your
But they
business.
made the big deal, right? They wanted to cause the division between the churches and the people,
Right.
While they were doing that, Rutgers and a bunch of other schools were helping change the law so that pedophiles will no longer be seen as a crime, but it be seen as an illness, so that they can get minimal treatment and put out into the streets.
Well, they want to call
Why?
it a
Because
sexual orientation.
well, that's another thing. They wanted to teach it as a sexual orientation. No one's hearing about all these things, but why? And then all of a sudden, this evil orange-haired man comes into play, and he starts exposing and helping expose a lot of the pedophilia that's going on. And now they're working double-fold while they're getting everyone to hate on him to start covering up all the pedophilia in the White House, all the pedophilia in Hollywood, in
Disney
New
World.
York, in Disney World, and all these places, while we're busy and being distracted with stuff. Who cares if Trump's an idiot? Who cares if
he sends mean tweets?
Exactly. Like, let's focus on what's going on.
It pains me to watch people I know that didn't graduate high school call this man an idiot.
Yeah.
I said, and I don't even mean to get that low, but it just like, it almost it's like, do you hear yourself? Do you hear yourself?
But we're not taught any history. We're not taught any facts. Most of the stuff that I know because I learned it outside of school, teaching my own kids, researching my own stuff.
Right.
It's the first 24 Republican senators were all black.
Yes.
The first 24 black senators were all
Republicans.
Republicans.
Yeah,
And it
Republicans
wasn't
was the
until
first to allow us in.
And it wasn't until the 70s that there was one black Democrat senator, and it was a female.
Yep.
But it took all that time for one to the 70s. Like, that's crazy.
Because they realized that they were playing a losing game, and they said, you know what, we have to adjust to.
Give one up.
We don't want to, but it's looking like we have no choice, guys.
Well, there's a Black American History museum in D.C. And if you go there, you can see these posters. And it's a poster for the Democrat Party. They made it up for whoever was running at the time. And it was a picture, a drawn picture of a white man who looks prestigious, regal. And it says, vote Democrat, the white man's party. And then right next to it is a picture of a caricature of a black man with really huge lips.
If you remember that back in those days when they used to put those pictures up, they were almost like monkey, but human, and this
Exactly
and
what
that.
it was like. And it says Republican, the Negroes Party.
Yeah.
And this is what
I've seen.
you can go there now, DC, and look at them, and they're oblivious. These kids.
I prefer not to go to DC.
I hear that. But what I'm saying is, like, we're not even taught this stuff. None of it is taught to us. We're always told that Republicans have always been racist, and they've always.
And that's the lie, and they keep pushing it, and people are still falling for it. You have an endless amount of information at your hands.
That's right.
In your fingertips. You have the whole world in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, take some time. Because I know you can tell things aren't adding up.
Right, exactly.
I know you can tell. I know a lot of you can tell.
I feel like a lot of people are ashamed, right? But there's no reason to be ashamed. Hey, listen, I was bamboozled too. You know what I mean? I was once where you were, where things were starting to click, and I'm like, wait a second, my whole life has been a lie. Everything I was taught was a lie. It's okay. It's not like we're over here and we're going to be like, see, I mean, just a little
There was a time.
late, but I'm not going to. No, because you know what? Come over to this side so you can actually open your eyes a lot more and then touch more people. Not everyone gets to see what's going on right now.
We're not the creepy Joe Biden touching.
We're not, but not everyone. I feel like I'm very blessed and fortunate, along with you all, to be able to know what's going on in this world right now, because not everyone still.
But it is not fun.
It's not fun, but not everyone knows what's going on. A lot of people are still like, I got to go get my 4th and 5th and 6th booster. You know what I mean? Like, if it didn't work the first and second time, I think Fauci just put out a statement saying that he's so, shocked with how many people who have gotten vaccinated are now in the hospital with COVID. Do you guys know that? Do you guys know that he said that? First off, why are we even taking anything that man says out of his mouth? Why?
Because Big Bird said it.
Which is ridiculous.
And Elmo.
And it's just, to me, it's like,
Real doctors.
in a real world, right? Not because this is clown world, right? Clown world led by.
But they don't even know that, Louis. They're like, if that were true, then why aren't other doctors speaking against them? Because they banned them.
Because they get killed. That's why.
That's the other thing.
That's where I was
Face
going.
down hiking.
I'm sorry, no. They commit self-death.
Right, that's right.
A lot
They killed
of
themselves.
the doctors had their license threatened. Okay?
That's true too. Right.
Okay.
Or what about the one woman?
How would you feel if you went if you went to court and they said we're going to take your driver's license away for driving the correct way?
Right.
We're going to take your driver's license away for not getting any tickets.
Right.
So you're going to take my license away for doing what I'm
Everything.
supposed to be doing. Right. Is basically. It's that simple. The system is
well, it's designed
doing
for what it is.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how, as a Hispanic, as Black, you're Argentinian, as what this country supposedly hates, right? Because they hate us supposedly. That's why we got to stand up against it.
I'm gonna cancel you for that joke. I just want you to know.
Okay, sweet.
Uh-oh.
Cancel culture, baby.
He's gonna fade out. You're gonna like go into dust like when Thanos snapped his finger. Right into dust.
So we're the hated people of this country, right? And we have to stand up and fight. But then when we stand up and fight, we're considered, we're told to shut up. Then you have the culture today where everyone's supposedly standing for it, but they're not even standing for us. It's like, oh, poor you dummy.
Exactly.
Okay, you can't do for yourself. I think that's what you said earlier,
That's
right?
called
You can't do for yourself.
the bigotry of low expectation.
Yes. Yep.
The soft bigotry of low expectation.
My boss says the same thing all the time.
And it's just what people want to call it reverse racism. No, it's not. It's racism.
No, it's just
It's
racist.
just
It's
flat
just
out
plain
racism.
I'd rather you call me names to my face.
This
okay?
is racism at its
Exactly.
at its core.
Yeah.
Them thinking you can't do it.
That's
you
it.
can't do it.
You can't even speak English correctly. You know what I'm saying? Like at school, they don't even ask children, minority children, to speak correctly. Well, that's the best they can do. So Ebonics and ghetto-ness is allowed,
Right.
and then we wonder why we can't do basic things. And I don't mean
Euphemisms.
we, us. I mean, you know, us as a society, why we're not pushing ahead like other cultures, right? Because you see Asians come here not knowing a word of English.
Right.
And for some reason, within a generation, the kid's a doctor.
Kid's a doctor. He's making six figures.
Even African.
He's told he
when they
can't go
come
to
right from
Harvard anymore.
Africa,
And that's one thing I say about Africans
Exactly.
from Africa
Yes.
are nothing like black people in America. Let me tell you, they are not. They come.
They do not
They
play.
come ready
They
to
don't
work.
play.
No, they come.
And don't tell them they're black either.
I'm African.
They come with a conviction. Like
That's
Come
right.
to conquer.
we're.
That's right.
I did not come here
to play with you.
I did not come here to have the bare minimum.
Yep, that's fact.
That's not what I came in for. I didn't come here to live off the government. I came here to be successful.
Right.
Because that's what I was told. That's what I was sold. That this is the land of opportunity, and I can come here and I can be successful. So why would I come here and just accept the bare minimum?
Lollygag with you.
Doesn't make sense.
You have no idea how many homeschool kids whose parents are first generation immigrants from Africa come here, and within a few years, the kid is being accepted to every Ivy League school.
They don't play.
Every Ivy League school, Harvard, Yale,
These are people
Princeton.
taking their citizenship.
But then this country will say that they're not really black.
Facts.
And that's the killer for me. Like, so
They're more black. They're not really black. They're from Africa. They're more black than most of us in America. Come on.
They're more black than our first black president.
Exactly.
And
come on.
female black president.
I tell people all the
for,
time.
what,
Elon
52
Musk,
hours?
Elon Musk is more African than I am. You want to know why?
Because he's from Africa.
He was born there. I ain't never been to Africa. I've never been there.
But again, going back to narrative, that's the whole narrative. Like they want us so divided.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. They want to separate the Africans from the blacks, right? And black Americans. Because that's three. We're not talking about one or two. Those are three right there divisions. Right. Then you have the Hispanics, the Latins, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Cubans, Mexico, South Mexico, and
South Mexico.
South America.
You hear
and
this
so on and so
racist
forth.
man?
Honduras.
South
Okay.
Mexico.
Honduras. And,
That's what he
and
said,
everything.
South
Carlos
Mexico.
Perez.
You just condensed me into everything.
Carlos
Shout me out.
Perez.
Shout me out.
Carlos Perez.
Yes.
Is being racist.
So everything in itself is like all these divisions, right?
So Canada is up Mexico and
Yes.
Oh,
That's
okay.
northern Mexico.
Top Mexico.
No.
South Mexico, bottom Mexico.
Everything and church, religion, and that's the part. Like for me, for Once Blind, for this show, when it comes to Christianity, they've even allowed every church to be divided. So you have different ones, and yes, I get it. Some are cults, Catholic, so on and so forth. All that crap. That's fine. I don't get it.
All for the sake of
I don't care.
diversity.
But why can't the one church that has similar values, whether Baptist or whatever, get together, right, with different people, not even from church, and stand up for the things that are right?
Right.
Right? There's a pro-life thing, and conservatives are there. No, church has got to do something totally different. Why? Everything is
'Cause we can't be seen.
divided. But that's the thing. Like, how do you not see the formula? Okay, it's a formula that they're doing.
keep
And
you
it's
out.
funny because they made us read that book in high school. What was the 1884, 1984?
1984.
George
Yeah,
Orwell.
they made us read that
I've
book.
never read it, but I need to.
And it's
I know what
exactly
it's
what's
about.
going on. It's like the division, right? You got to divide and conquer. There's nothing, even in sports we're divided, which I get it. Sports is sports. But everything has its divisions.
It's funny, our kids who, they're 10th grade and under, they've read those books in Animal Farm, and they constantly come up to me and say things like, this is like Animal Farm. Yeah, yes it is.
Yeah.
But that's why they don't want certain kids to read those books. Because, not everybody read the books.
No. Well, the reason they wanted us to read the books back when in our day is because they wanted to introduce us to what they wanted us to eat. And they wanted us to eat socialism. And they wanted us to eat communism. Yeah. So that was the first try to indoctrination. But what they found out is like, oh crap, it's doing the reverse. We actually told them what we're going to do and they're not liking it.
Yeah.
So then they had to switch it. Well, how do we switch it? Well, we just make them hate each other. Yep. Okay, we put on this little facade. We get them to love and admire Hollywood and the music industry. I mean, in early 2000s, 2001, we figured out that Naughty by Nature sold themselves out to the CIA and a bunch of other people to put out music that they were handpicking for them to put out. So OPP, right, which is one of the greatest songs, so we thought, was actually picked and written by the CIA.
Wow.
Okay, and it's freaking amazing. Yeah, because I used to bang to that all day.
That's crazy.
That was my song.
Like, banging to the Feds music.
Okay.
That's crazy.
And we thought it was what? Thug, hip hop, this, that. It doesn't any more grimy, yada, yada. Right. No, Naughty by Nature. And in fact, I can find you a list.
I hate you. Sorry.
Because I hate you.
I said not because I hate you.
Okay. So all these so-called rappers of the time that were being whatever, and this is the time where it was introduced where women need to be loose, men need to be, pimping around, not taking care of children, okay, selling drugs, this and that. That's the cool life. And it was like, wow. Now it's starting to make sense because look at today's music.
And they don't have to do it anymore because they already did it. They laid the seed, and now that's it.
Generations follow.
And then they followed it.
Look at the generation today. It's no longer, and I saw this on Instagram at some point, music, how it talked about women in the 80s.
Right.
Women, how it were talked about in the 90s, right? In 2000, and this, and then rap music and how it's evolved. And now it's like, are you kidding me? Like,
it's funny.
It's like whatever way you could dumb down yourself the most.
That's what I was talking about. That's what I was talking about with children not needing to speak properly. Because if you've ever looked into the development of children, certain things need to happen very early on for a child to be developmentally where they need to be. So doctors will usually look for these signs. When you come to the doctor's office, they're like, okay, he's saying daddy, he's saying this. This is very vital. These things need to happen because they know that if A and B happen, that C's going to happen. Yes. We're not going to worry about this. Yes, so if we're not teaching children how to speak, we're not teaching them how to think. Because then you see words out there in the news, or you see them in a book, or you see whatever, and you're not connecting anything because none of it makes any sense to you. So they make you illiterate in your own country, and in your own country, you don't know how to speak or talk or write or read.
Right. Setting you up to fail.
There are places in Chicago, I'm so sorry. There are places in Chicago that have 10 miles in every direction where a child, not one child, passes the math or English equivalency of a test.
It's crazy.
How long has Chicago been a Democrat-run
for
city? Over 50 years.
It's crazy.
And nobody cares that your kids can't read?
Wait, I'm sorry. Obama didn't do anything for them?
Of course
and
not.
That right there was one of the biggest red pills for me. You don't immediately go back to your hometown and clean it up. That would have been my number one order of business. That would have been my your city is literally the worst in the country, one of the worst in the world.
Right.
And you don't even attempt to clean it up. You don't attempt to do anything.
That's the first thing if I run for president that I'd ever do.
This is where you're from.
Is I'd come and crap on freaking New Jersey's politics real quick, make some noise, hopefully some stuff happens, and then from there I'll worry about the rest of the country. But at first I want to take care of, because guess what? When I'm done, that's where I'm going back.
Exactly. I'm going back home.
Well, he didn't.
Obviously, no one went back to Chicago.
He bought himself a nice house by the water. I guess he's not too worried about the ocean rise.
No.
None of them are.
It's climate change. That's why COVID's killing people. I mean, climate changes.
Well,
I guess their house is going to lift up when the water rises or something.
Did you guys see that they're claiming that heart conditions are going to rise in children?
Yes, I've seen that.
From newborn to 11 years old in the next 10 years due to climate change?
Yes.
The FDA just approved anti-inflammatory medication for children and anti-blood clotting medication also for children. And that completely goes hand in hand with what they're trying to do and make our children lab rats.
That's like you seen the bus. I seen the meme. I don't know if you've seen it. There's a meme with a bus that says, heart attacks in toddlers are very common.
But for years, they've been trying to sterilize the hoods.
That's what I said. I said, wait, since when? Since when have toddlers have heart attacks? Now.
Since they started getting new vaccinations.
I guess now they're going to be common.
But their mothers were told while they were pregnant to get these vaccines.
That's another thing.
While breastfeeding them.
Yep.
To get the booster and the booster and the booster.
It's another thing.
All that is going through the bloodstream.
I saw a meme with the guy from the Goonies. You guys might not know Goonies.
Chunk.
I know the Goonies, of
You know
course.
the Goonies?
I know
Trump.
the Goonies.
Baby.
Yeah, Trump.
And it says I'm up to date with all my boosters, and it's just him on it. I had to repost it. I don't know who I stole it from, but
like
I
the
was like,
video-
that's phenomenal.
Or like the video, there's one where a guy, he goes to the club or he goes somewhere and the guy's like, all right, let me see your vaccination card. And he's like, all right. He's like, I see you didn't get your sixth one though. You got to go back and get the sixth one. Then you can come back. It's like,
Yeah.
when will it end? When are you people going to say, okay, maybe I'm not sticking 7 shots in my body to go buy a cheeseburger?
Well, I was speaking to an elderly person. Bless her. And she
passed away.
Let me just say,
That's Southern for mother. No.
let me just say this though before you, because I'm gonna let
please,
you.
please.
Let me just say this: my stance on the vaccine for elderly people is a little different.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I can understand, why,
You'd want to take the risk.
they'd want to take it
Right.
because if I'm 70, and I have, I don't know, heart condition, or if I have something that is, that can definitely kill me at the
Right.
blink of an eye, I might accept anything that I can get to try to help me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I understand,
Yeah,
the
I agree.
elderly people. I understand it, That's just the way I look. I understand why they would want it.
I agree.
I'm not saying that I agree with all of them taking it,
Right.
but I understand why
thought process,
the thought
yeah.
process of why they would want
Makes
it.
sense.
They've been through so much. They've been through a lot. So for them, they're like, listen, you haven't been through the things I've been through
Right.
yet. Maybe when you do. So I can understand that thought process.
I agree. But also, I'm all for anybody doing anything they want to with their body.
Exactly.
That's your body, do you? But I don't want it legislated or mandated for anybody else or held against us for not doing it. But with this older woman, she was speaking to me, and I don't know why she just came out of whatever, but she said to me, it's not like this country has ever done anything to hurt anyone ever. And I was just blown away.
Slavery.
Well, how about the Tuskegee vaccine? The Tuskegee vaccine trials,
Lady.
where they gave black men.
Wait a minute, did you wake up? Were you born yesterday?
What about the burning of Black Wall Street?
I mean,
Yes.
there's just so many things you can go back to. I mean, you literally just pull one right out of the sky.
But there's a lot of ignorance concerning it, and including that, in San Francisco, the CIA would go to brothels and give men going to the brothels acid. So before acid was a drug that people took regularly, they would use it. They would dose people that didn't know they were being dosed just to watch them. Wow. So they would be watching through two-way mirrors to watch them.
Reactions.
Right. So the prostitutes would come in, give them something to drink, and then nothing would happen between her and the John because he would be so high. And behind the mirror would be a CIA agent, a doctor,
Insane.
writing everything down. And this is something that was revealed by the CIA that, yes, it happened. And oops, it's revealed from them. It's not a conspiracy theory because you can look it up.
So imagine what they're doing right now.
That's precisely
No,
the
even
point.
in New York City, and this is the part that gets me, right? For years and years and years and years and years, you always heard everyone in the hood talk about the CIA put all the drugs up in here, the CIA did this, the CIA did that, yada, 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 yada. I remember every single body in all 5 boroughs said the same thing, but we saw it as conspiracy theory.
Guess who Joe Biden works for? You think the CIA works for Joe Biden?
Nah.
No. Joe Biden works for the CIA.
But once it was released with the Freedom Act, right, that the CIA did do that, you would think everyone in the hood was like, I told you. Oh, I told you. No, you know what they said? Oh, man, that's a conspiracy. Are you kidding me?
It's a conspiracy theory, right?
That the truth is revealed.
Until it gets revealed as true, and then it's like, yeah, I don't think I want to accept it.
But that's the thing.
think I
Before
wanna
they
accept that
swore
truth.
it was true, but we had no proof, so it was just conspiracy.
That's like
Now we have the proof,
right.
and we go back. It's the little rat with the cheese.
Yes.
And that's what we are. There's an easy path for you to get the cheese. It's just kind of, different. But no. You're going to continue to go get shocked because you know what? After you get shocked, you get a piece. Like, come on. Like, work a little bit harder for where you get your information from. Just a little bit harder.
Well, that's the other thing. When people ask for you, we were speaking about this before. People will ask you for a link, and it's like, go get your own link. I mean, I don't mind, but the problem is that if I give you a link, you still don't believe it.
Doubt me. I'm like,
right. So find your own, because that's what I did. It took me years to find the research that I have, and that's why I have the conviction that I have about this.
Rightfully so.
And no one can make me change my mind because I've taken not 20 minutes or one guy telling me something. I've taken years to look into this stuff and research it. And
growing up, I was not really into politics, right? I just felt, they don't care about you anyway, right?
Right.
To a degree, whatever, right? But I was too young to vote for Obama. So I was making phone calls. I got a part of the whole thing and making phone calls to get people to vote for him because I believed in it, right? So I was like, oh my God, this guy is amazing. He's a great speaker. If we could have the first black president, this is so great. And he was a great speaker. Like he could sell water to a well, right? Like literally. So I'm like, oh my God. And then when he got in, it was like game changer. It hit everyone's emotions. You were like, oh my God, this is the moment. Who would have thought you've ever seen a black president? And then his narrative. And then how things started going, what is going on? Why is it, what? Like, it was like you got bamboozled, right? And it's like, there's still people out there that were just like he's like Jesus.
I didn't realize.
And it's sick because for you to think that I'm part of like a cult because of my beliefs and who I feel is a great president who's done some great things. Look at you. You have a picture of Obama by like a Bible and in your house.
Jesus.
And it's insane.
You
and
literally picked him because of his skin color.
And literally. And then to me,
That's
it's
cult.
like
That's cult behavior.
I thought I was a Democrat because like my whole family's a Democrat, right? So, and you're almost conditioned as a child, well, you're a minority. So you need to be a Democrat because conservatives are white and they don't do anything to help.
White
The more I started looking into it, that's actually not how any of this goes. And then I'm just like, you know what? Like a lot of people in my family look at me a lot differently now. Cause like when this shift kicked off, he was like one of the first people. And I was like, oh my God, like my cousin is along with me. Like it's him. And then two of my other cousins where we're all very conservative.
There was a short period of time where we went back and forth on
about.
Do you remember the one time the Obama post? I was like, oh, Bill Clinton. It was a joke. Like I made a joke because Bill Clinton did like play the saxophone. I was like, Bill Clinton was actually our first black
technically,
president.
yes.
Right? So and then were like, nah, cuz you can't take that away from Obama. You can't take that away from him. Like, come on, he did so many good things. But this was like when we were both going through our little
ashamed.
Listen.
No.
I didn't.
No.
It's just
I didn't.
growth.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
I think that's very insulting though.
I didn't know how bad he was until long after he was gone.
But it's indoctrination.
Most
though.
people
The whole time he was there, I was
Most
for
people
him.
did.
You were still under the indoctrination of what you were going through. And it wasn't till you started trying to create
Trump.
your own or find your own doctrine, okay, that you've seen the difference. Because I know plenty of people who...
I had Obama Air Force Ones.
Oh my goodness.
I don't even know.
You were all in.
I was all in.
You racist.
I know. I'm ashamed. I still have them at home, and they
Our
probably
racist
would
never-
sell for like 5 cents
King
now.
Obama
So
on the
there's
side of
no
Air
point.
Force
No,
Ones.
you don't think so?
You think somebody would buy them? Because if somebody wants to buy them, you can buy them. Because I don't want them. But I had like the Obama shirt. I went to like a
give 'em to my
rally.
dog. I let him
I
chew
went
'em
to a rally where he was speaking. I think it was 2 days before he actually won the presidency. It was jam packed, and they had so much merchandise. It was such a great experience at that time, right? But I'm like, when I look at it now, I'm like, man, if I could have gone to a Trump rally though, like the energy would have been so much different. You know, did you go?
What?
You went to one?
Oh my God, it was the most...
Super
it was
jealous.
one of the best parties I've ever been to.
I'm so jealous.
And this
Where
is...
did you go to?
Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania, Hershey Park. Let me tell you, okay? As soon as I got there, you had InfoWars, you had all these people, like
Shout out
actual
to InfoWars.
newscasters.
I saw your sticker upstairs, by the
Yes.
I
And
know.
I'm like,
Shout
oh,
out-
you,
yeah,
you
shout out
didn't
to-
see
Been
my
working
hat?
for 9 years.
Shout out to A. Jones and
Yo.
InfoWars for sure.
Uncle Alex, I call him.
Yes, Uncle Alex. All the people that I met there, right, were pretty amazing. Here's the part that killed me. And not because it was Trump, but because it was Hershey, Pennsylvania. Okay? When I saw my Latin people, I was like, I thought I was going to be the only one.
Yeah,
all live.
'cause that's
Okay.
what you. That's what they.
And
Yep.
then a little bit over, I started hearing hip hop. I was like,
Yep. Yep.
oh, this is great.
Is this for real?
Like
You felt like alive,
I was
right?
like, no, I was like, because I seriously, I went with one guy, Antonio, right, which is the only black guy I know that rides bulls, right? This dude
He's a
is
professional
Yo,
bull
he-
rider.
Shout out to Antonio.
yeah.
Shout out to
This
Antonio.
dude, I mean, is phenomenal, right? And me and him are going, right? So I already know he's going to show up in a cowboy hat, a vest, and boots,
Nice.
right? And then I was going to show up with my Trump hat or something, and I was like, this isn't going to be good because we're. I mean, we got a long ride to get there. We got there. It was safe. And then we thought we were going to stick out like sore thumbs. And it
blended
was
right in?
like, we blended right in. We get the line. Holy
I can imagine.
moly.
I can imagine.
The line. I've never, not even at Great Adventure have I seen a line like this, okay?
Wow.
It wrapped around it over and over again. They made the mistake, though, of opening up, and then people started rushing the front. And then the ghetto in me kind of kicked in, and I was like, yo. Get out the way. No, people are running. You don't stand there and watch. You start running too.
Right.
So I told Antonio and some dude that tagged along with us, is like, no. We're going to run that way. And we ran, and we got to the front of the line.
Oh wow.
Somehow, some way, I got to be feet, okay?
In front of him.
In front of him,
so awesome.
but also the media behind us, which we don't even know how
were
many
in the
times we
media
turned
pit.
around to say something, and whole packed.
Wow.
Packed.
That's amazing.
Like Travis Scott packed concert like that.
Yeah. Only safer. And
That's an
everything.
interesting
Only
topic
more
that
alive.
We should definitely go into.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, Joe,
after you're done. After you're done.
But it was packed and everywhere. People were standing. Okay. People were on the side, and I mean the shades, okay, of people. Okay. Asian. And you go from China all the way in. You saw Jewish people who were Orthodox. You saw a church group. You could tell because they were all wearing the same church shirt or whatever. The people that were there, we had one person come out with a sign or something, whatever. They got her out within seconds. Okay.
Sorry, ma'am, not here. BLM.
Everything there was so positive. Like the energy with people, the kindness, okay, the conservativeness, the
Respect.
conversations, the respect, the
Safe environment.
and it's Pennsylvania. Most of Pennsylvania, they conceal carry.
Nice.
Not one gunshot.
There you have it.
We know somebody who really suffers from what's it called? Road rage. And in Jersey, he'd constantly pull over and try to fight people, because of road rage, And he moved to PA, and he said, moving to Pennsylvania really made me calm down with my road rage because I know people
Everybody
conceal
got guns.
carry and I never know who has one.
That's the conversation I was having yesterday at work with people. The people at my job, well, there's some people that they don't agree with the whole gun thing, and we said we brought up the fact that in places like Texas and things like that, people are less likely to try to rob you,
That's facts.
try to break into your house, try to start a problem with you because they know there's a gun in that house. There's a gun behind that counter. There's a gun on that guy I just bumped into. Maybe I should just keep walking.
Excuse me, sir. Have a nice day.
Sorry. But out here it's like, I don't know what you have or not, so let me test you.
Right.
And then it's like you find out, and it's not always, what you wanted to find out. So it's like in places like that, there's a mutual respect for life. You know what I mean?
I like
It's a
that.
mutual respect for life. Like, yo, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna test your life. I'm pretty sure we both packing.
Right.
I'm pretty sure we can easily both end each other's life right now if we want to, but we're not gonna play that game. Right. And out here, it's like it's taken for granted because it's taken for granted because people just feel like who know
I might be the one with the gun because it's illegal for you to have one.
Exactly. So I know that it's legal. How the gun laws out here. So I know you more than likely don't have one.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you don't know if I have one or not. So, I can pick a fight with you.
Right.
But that's not the case. Let's be real, because in the hood, all the shooting is we have illegal guns.
Right.
We have illegal guns. Some have more than one. But what we do know is that our great government has held you from being able to protect yourself. So I know chances are 80% that when I pull mine out, you ain't got one.
Right.
But you know what? Let's worry about a case in Wyoming, and let's not worry about how many deaths are happening in Newark, how many deaths are happening in Perth Amboy, in Camden, which is top 10 worst places to live, Trenton, all these places where, because people have that same mentality that, hey, I know for a fact you don't
have it.
Okay.
But Chicago too. Chicago, you cannot have guns in Chicago. So Chicago, Camden are some of the worst places to live in the entire world. Yet Israel, everybody carries. Literally everybody has an AK or some sort of something similar. They carry it on their shoulders. Grandmas, little girls, not little girls, but I mean like young ladies. And you don't hear about mass shootings and stuff like that.
I have a friend, he's Pakistani, and I asked him the other day, I'm like, in your country, they give kids guns, machine guns, very, very young. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, you guys ain't just walking around shooting each other up all day, right? He's like, no. He's like, no. People have kids. The kids walk around with machine guns. And they know, they have, proper gun safety training and know when not to point their gun and,
You mean like that judge? Not judge, that lawyer?
Finger.
Jesus Christ.
Little finger.
Oh my God. Like, what, why in the world
I
would
thought
you?
it was a video game.
Now, there are people, but you don't think that they would empty the gun before you? That doesn't matter. That does not matter. 101, in any situation, no matter what, even if you're just demonstrating, because there's plenty of people who have been shot during a demonstration.
Alec Baldwin.
Now that wasn't the demonstration. That was something else. But what I'm saying is there have been.
I was just interjecting that.
There are people that have been shot or injured or killed by somebody just demonstrating, something with a gun. The exact same thing he did in a courtroom, demonstrating. He could have easily not realized that there was something in the trigger. Then he had his finger on the trigger.
And he aimed it at the jury.
And what if there was like one still in the head? You know what I'm saying? Like, pow, you just killed somebody right in the courtroom. Oh, I'm sorry. Oops. I'm not going to go to jail though, right?
No, of course not. Alec didn't. Is he going to go to jail?
Probably not.
I don't know. I keep hearing so many different things about this.
Which is strange.
I'm hearing so many different stories about it may get worse for him because apparently he was the producer on them.
Yes.
So it's not the movie company or the production company that's at fault here.
He knew.
You're the producer.
Yeah.
That means you're at fault.
Well, I just recently heard that the scene did not call for him to brandish a gun.
Right, I heard that too. And apparently there was like some sort of like
weird.
there was some sort of I don't know. He said something right before he fired the gun.
Well, she was because there was so much unsafety things happening and a lot of people quitting.
Yes,
she was
I
one
heard
of the
that too.
people that was riling people up about like this is unsafe. We're doing this unsafe. So that's interesting.
He probably got mad at her, which he's done before.
Oh, he's not a hothead. Is he a hothead? He's not a hothead. That's sarcasm. So.
Yeah, no, he's gotten to.
I mean, the more they release, it seems premeditated.
He pulled that. He picked that gun up.
Yes, he did.
Pointed it at her and he pulled the trigger. End of story.
Amen.
Yeah. It's murder.
What more do you need?
Schmurder.
I don't care if he was playing around. I don't care if he was. I don't care. He picked it up. He pointed at her and he pulled the trigger.
And she's dead.
And she's dead.
But at least he's quiet about Kyle Rittenhouse right now.
Mister, I don't want
He's
you to.
crickets right now.
Mister, I don't want people that have guns to protect their homes, but
Exactly.
I want them so I can play make believe.
I know. So I can kill people who go against me in my movies.
Because that's what he did.
Oh, murder is definitely a hot topic.
And that's a fact,
in the last
YouTube.
month.
He picked the gun up, he pointed at her, and he shot her. I'm not saying anything that is not true.
Hasn't been out there, yeah. They themselves are releasing more and more information that actually has painted the narrative that they didn't want us to see.
Yes.
And that's kind of what happens with all the BS that happens in our politics. The more BS and BS we start picking at, and it's like, wait a second.
Wait a minute. Well, that's what Shay was saying about the Fauci stuff. Wear a mask, don't wear a mask. Go outside, don't go outside. Don't get sunlight.
Or last
don't
year,
go to the gym.
don't trust the vaccines a year ago.
Yes, because it was Trump's vaccine.
Now it's take the vaccine or else.
Or when Biden said that it's not up to, the government to tell you to get a vaccine. We can't force people. We can't do that. And now it's mandates for all.
Oh, yeah, mandates.
Not to mention the fact that they didn't trust the Trump vaccine, but under Biden, they're forcing you to get it. And yet it's the same vaccine. This isn't a new vaccine.
Same companies.
It's the same vaccine.
Same companies.
What was the
making
one
them,
that was
same
killing
one.
people outright? Was that Johnson &
I think it was
Johnson?
Johnson. They had like a lot of problems.
That they stopped giving out the Johnson & Johnson one?
Very minimal.
Yeah, I think it was Johnson.
Very
Johnson.
minimal.
They gave
Very minimal. It's actually the safest one.
Is it?
It is. It's the safest one.
But
and they
you see
stopped.
how stuff goes, right?
Yep.
Depending who puts more money
That's exactly what it is.
into whatever it is, they started like going against each other.
They just asked them to release, the information that they have on the vaccines, and they refused to release them for 55 years.
2076 Pfizer.
2076, yeah.
Pfizer won't release the data until 2076. Somebody said, well, I guess I'll get my shot in 2076.
There's
when I have
actually
data.
another thing that I believe New York was trying to do some kind of incentive. If you take your child, the day that they made it for children, if you take them to get the vaccine, they will put your child on a list for college
Tuitions, right?
if they make it that
The
far.
coercion is disgusting.
Coercion.
So we're gonna tell you to do
People don't even know what
this.
that-
Your
there's
kid's
certain
not gonna
people
make it.
Who totally unaware to what that word is or what it even means.
Well, they like to use reverse racism as a word. I'm going to call this reverse drug dealing. Okay. You're going to take our drug and we're going to pay you for it.
Yeah.
Because that's basically what it is.
Yeah, it is.
And you know what the saddest part is that these parents are pimping out their children.
I got insurance. I got a letter from our insurance for our children, and I was told that if I take the kids to get something, that we'd get a $25 voucher.
For what though? It all depends.
It was a vaccine. No,
not
For the
that.
jab.
What are they giving me $25
Oh,
for?
probably to Burger
It's just
King,
yours.
clog up their
Because-
hearts.
Yeah. No, it's just like a Visa card. they just give
Krispy
you.
Kreme.
Because if they gave me $25 towards bullets, then maybe I'll think about it.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous. But in reference, we were speaking about Obama. Obama broke my heart because even though I've never really been a Democrat, I was super excited that our country was so progressive enough to have
And
someone-
united, it seemed.
Absolutely. Like I was like, yes, finally people are going to see like we're good. Like this is a good country and we care. But then his wife spoke. This was when everybody
Michael?
was running. This
Michael.
is when
Big Mike.
this is
Michael
I'm
Obama.
trying to be serious.
To those who don't know.
Shout out to Big Mike.
But this is when everybody was still running. He was in the presidential Democrat running
Conventions.
Right. This was the convention for all the Democrats, right? And she came out and she
The DNC.
yes. And she introduced him and like talked about him, right? And everything that came out of her mouth, I just felt like cold water was being thrown on me because she was disgusting me. I was born in a socialist country, and that's why I've always loved this country so much because of the freedoms. I went back every year from the time I was like 5 to the time I was 15, and I saw the difference between this country and that country. Right. I was able to see my freedoms and enjoy them and respect them and appreciate them. And what my parents had to put up with to come here, it took them 11 years to come here legally.
And this is who we should be listening more to. People like you that have been that
Or
know,
not.
Socialist, yeah.
that know that you've lived it, you've seen it. I've seen it. You've never seen it.
No, and
You've never seen it.
Specifically when they're talking
She's
about
seen
like
it.
healthcare and they're like, socialized healthcare. I'm like, it is atrocious. It is. You've never been on a line at 5 a.m. waiting for a ticket like the deli, just to see if they might call your number so that maybe you can
be
possibly
seen.
see a doctor. That
Guess
day.
what? Cuba has socialized healthcare, and they were running from. Where do you think they were trying to run from?
They were willing to swim with sharks.
They were literally risking their lives to run away from that.
Yep,
And y'all won it.
precisely. But when hearing her speak, I just kept getting like socialist vibes, which is crazy because I didn't know anything about these two people. I didn't know anything about them. I was just like super psyched, and she broke my heart. I was like, well, you just ruined it for your husband. No one's ever going to vote for him now. All the stuff that just came out of your mouth, it was so like anti-American and anti-military.
I feel like he kicked it off.
He 100% did.
He painted the target on the police's back.
Absolutely.
He actually awakened me to politics because before that I was like, meh. I knew stuff, but I didn't really trust anything or anyone. So I disliked them both equally.
As I was telling you before, he's also related to George Bush.
That he is. But also
Barack Obama.
he's a fourth cousin.
I've seen things about that. That's interesting.
But
if that's true.
It's not just that he's fourth cousins with the Bushes. His mentor was a communist. His dad, his real father, a communist.
What's his name? Sotoro.
Sotoro was a stepdad.
Yes.
Who was also a communist and worked for the Communist Party.
But all of it just intertwined together. It's
Absolutely.
just like,
Apparently, his parents were cool with the Bush's parents, and like they go back. Like
and his grandparents were they were signed. I can't remember that word. But they were part of the Communist Party. His grandparents, who raised him, were like they have communist cards. Like they were communists. And they looked for a professor in Hawaii to mentor him. And the professor they looked for was a black man who was a communist.
probably did a lobotomy on him.
Well, probably.
It's crazy.
But the thing is that like it broke my heart because I felt like he's always going to be seen as
The greatest president?
no, actually the opposite. I thought he was going to be seen as the black president that ruined the country, and it broke my heart because it was going to be like, oh, so we're never going to get a black president again because he's just going to be equated with that garbage.
No, but a lot of people still hold him on that that plateau of he was the best president we've ever had.
No, but it's the same people.
What was it, the droning? The droning that they like?
Yeah, the droning and killing our own people. But
Most people can't tell you anything he did.
No,
but that's
Obamacare.
exactly where I was going.
Obamacare.
Oh, that's
it.
That's probably one of the main ones I hear all the time. Obamacare, and I'm like,
But ask them to explain what Obamacare is.
Obamacare. Okay, as black people, okay, what is one of the number one causes of our deaths? Is gunshot violence. Obamacare doesn't cover gun wounds.
I didn't know that. That is
Bullet wounds
crazy.
are not covered by Obamacare.
That is insane.
But you know what is covered by Obamacare? Abortions.
Of course it is.
And it's very interesting. Name one Planned Parenthood that you know of that's not in the hood.
That's designed like that. Kill all these black babies, minority babies, so we
It's a
Margaret
fertility
Sanger.
center.
So we have less of them around.
In a different community, and it's an
Exactly.
abortion clinic.
Margaret Sanger was a well-known Democrat, but she was also a well-known KKK
Yep,
proponent.
KKK, that's right.
There's pictures of her at KK rallies giving speeches. She was revered among the KKK.
There's
Hillary's
video.
hero.
There's video.
Hillary Clinton called her hero, and not just that, but Hillary Clinton got her lifetime award, like the Margaret Sanger Lifetime Award.
That's like getting the Adolf Hitler Lifetime Achievement. Who wants that?
Well, at this point, compared to where this country's going, what did Hitler do wrong? Like, this is where we're going because soon enough, we vaxxers or non-vaxxers, okay, purebloods, are going to probably be pushed into some type of cage. And this is the
You mean
problem.
like the Amazon warehouses or Walmart?
Well,
both.
they've already built
FEMA camps.
They already built a camp in
But that's the thing, and they're
And that
building
all
these
started
camps.
during Obama.
but in America.
That all started during
built one in
Obama.
America,
I've
too.
seen them. They're like these big
I think in Wisconsin somewhere.
bucket, like boat looking things that are just black, and they're supposedly for
coffins.
bodies. They're coffins, yeah, but they almost
They're
look
like
like
containers.
like tactical
Like a
containers.
snap, like a snap plastic coffin, like just quick and done.
Yeah. Boop, throw them in there. But I think that a lot of the things that are, if we continue to be quiet, if we stop we haven't done progress, but if we really stop trying to progress and trying to make our voices heard, regardless of what people may think, they are going to push us into an area, and there's nothing we're going to be able to do because we're not the ones that are, and I do see a lot of people getting sick of stuff, and I do see a lot of people going out there and trying, okay, which is kind of why I had you guys here, because every time I went on your page, so-and-so was going out to speak, so-and-so, I got to see you over at Cheater Murphys and all that stuff going on where I was like, okay, I'm happy, but
we need
minimal.
more.
We're minimal.
We need more people.
And my thing is that if you're willing to post it on Facebook, post it on here, now let's put some feet to it.
Yeah.
But we have to get parents to start understanding. You might not care, but you're going to care when it affects your children.
Yeah. It's funny because I said something to somebody the other day. I said, you may not be interested in politics, but politics is interested in you.
And your children
And
especially.
your children and your wallet. And I said, you know what the number one thing that makes most people up to politics is when they look at their paychecks. And they say, why is this happening? Why is more money coming out of my check now all of a sudden?
Social Security will not be around.
Who decided this?
The
Well,
401ks.
and they excuse me, I'm so sorry, but they upped the number of minimum wage here in New Jersey. But what people didn't realize is that the percentage of what you pay in taxes
Went up too.
also went up.
And so did everything else.
You got
I used to
inflation,
buy a
you got all
box
this.
of eggs at Walmart last year, 60 eggs. It was like it was like $3 something. It wasn't quite $4. It was almost $4.
$3.68.
About that. And then I went last week and it was almost $7. It was $6 something. The same exact eggs at the same exact Walmart, only 365 days different.
And people might hear that and say,
Double the price.
just a few extra bucks. And it's like,
Let's go, Brandon.
I went today.
Double
I
the
went
price.
today and to go get some drinks and stuff like that. No, wait
eggs are
one
cheap.
second.
Meat
This is
is
funny.
way more expensive though.
Way more.
Okay. No. So I go, and a lady was asking another older lady, mask, whatever, was asking another lady, is there turkeys, right? And I walked by and I said, yeah, but they're double the price. I didn't mean to. I swear I didn't mean to. It just came out. And they're double the price. And then another lady next to me, right, says, yeah, thanks to Brandon. And then the old lady was like, huh? And I was like, I didn't say nothing. And the other lady was like, let's go, Brandon. That's why your turkey's so expensive. And I was like, oh, wow. Amazed at the fact that I didn't start this for once. And the second thing was that there was someone there, okay, and they didn't like say, hey, let's go, Brandon, pack up and go high because it was funny.
People are getting sick of this.
Like she legitly like chest out, you know, she Karen'd it basically,
she just told
but in a
you-
good way.
She just gave you the rundown.
Yep.
It was awesome.
Well, that's why I was saying parents, I think moms are going to get their heads out of their butts
Yeah.
and start to realize what's happening. And for me, that like under Obama, I started to see all the sex ed stuff.
Yeah.
And
Which is worse now under Governor Murphy.
well, it's very similar actually. The same book,
But it's younger.
Oh
It's
yeah,
now
that
younger.
is the one
and
issue.
the things that they're teaching, you have no business teaching my child that.
Right.
It's
I agree.
borderline pornography.
Oh, it's definitely pornography.
and
I've
then when
seen the
you hear-
pictures.
and then
It's
when you
called
hear-
grooming.
And then when you hear
It's
them say things
100%
like,
grooming.
"Oh, parents don't have a say so on what the
It's
in school,"
ridiculous.
like, wait, what did you
But
say?
see, but if listen, again, I was like apolitical-ish, but I was very feminist and whatever. And so I read Hillary Clinton's book after her husband was no longer president. And one of the main things that caught my attention in that book, and I remember I was a senior in high school, so didn't have any children. One of the things that caught my attention is when she kept really trying to embed in the reader that children belong to everybody. Children, that saying, that African saying that says,
Takes a village.
it takes a village.
Right.
But I didn't know this until like 2 years ago, that the African saying is much deeper than it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to raise an orphaned child, meaning that the child doesn't have parents. If the child has parents, mind your damn business.
Yep.
But if the child doesn't have parents, then all of us need to pitch in and help this child out.
Right.
That's the difference. But the way
It's been watered down.
But then
like everything,
But is she
of course.
equating the government to the village? Because I would.
Yes.
Yes.
She was. And she was saying that, we need universal child care. So all the stuff you heard in this last election with universal child care and child care starting at age 2 and it's free and all that other stuff. She was saying that in that book when I was a junior and a senior in high school in 2002. Sorry. 2002. I was trying to make myself younger. In 2002.
You went to school with Jesus.
I did. His name was Jesus Maldonado.
So their narrative never changes. That's why.
No, we
And
just have to
now-
wake up.
The government
Right.
is not the village. The government burns the village down.
That's right.
And then takes credit for its building back up.
And then buildings back up. Like, look what we did,
They
guys.
won high fives because they gave you some money after they built it. After they burnt everything.
Give
down.
you a free we'll pay for your TPs.
Yeah, here's some water. Actually, speaking of that, when the hurricanes happened, Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico happened. Remember?
Under Trump.
Under Trump. I had a whole lot of friends that were like, he's out there
Puerto
trying to
Rico?
kill us.
Yeah.
And I was like, first of all,
Trying to kill us.
y'all don't even know what's been happening
In your own government.
in your own island.
Yep.
There was one hospital open before Maria. One. The reason is because the electric company in Puerto Rico is run by Puerto Rico. It's not like private like we have here.
Right.
So when the two other hospitals that were open in the island could no longer pay for their electricity bill, they just shut them off. So there was one hospital when that huge hurricane destroyed the country, the island. Not to mention, milk was already $5 a gallon. That was 6 years ago. Milk, $5. I can't even imagine what it is right now.
Damn, that counts.
Well, I guess that's it, right? But and then there's like a ton of other issues that existed. So then add to that a hurricane, and of course things are going to be pretty bad for a while.
Yeah.
But the point is, Trump wasn't there when you had $5 gas, and Trump wasn't there when you only had one hospital because two hospitals were closed due to the electricity bills. There's something wrong with the people you people are voting for.
correct.
And you need to check that, because no matter how much money or help you get from here, it's not going to make a difference if those people are putting it in their pockets. And I know that because it's what happens in Argentina. Whenever the country does something, or whenever people from here or other countries help over there, the people running these associations all end up going home with really pretty things, and everybody else doesn't have any of it. And what was released in the last 3 years, right before COVID happened, people were starting to find those warehouses all over Puerto Rico full of stuff
supplies.
that had been rotting in there
Crazy.
because their own government people wouldn't give it to them.
But it's not only that. The media painted a picture, right? He threw a bounty bag at somebody or
throwing-
whatever.
That was the topic of the
Right.
conversation.
They
That's it.
showed
the
all
focus.
that. But
It was a church we know of.
we
know the
went
pastor.
to a Thanksgiving party, and your aunt, whoever she is, invited some people that just came
Literally
back.
like that 2 days before. or
Okay,
something.
just came back to the States. They were in Puerto Rico this whole time. When
They couldn't get
Trump
out.
was there, they were there. And now they didn't say anything. They didn't do anything. I forget who was it in your family that,
Had to hate on him.
had a hate on him, started talking trash, found out that they were from Puerto Rico, and they brought
Hey,
up,
you just came back from Puerto Rico. Yeah.
How about that Trump throwing things at you and blah? And that person was like, whoa, 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 whoa. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay. He was there. He was dancing with people. He was doing this with people. He
was
fed the
crying with
people. He was
people.
crying with people.
They
he
don't
was
wanna
praying
show
with
that.
people. He was getting along with
So
people.
what happened is it was like a food bank type of scenario that day at that church. So everybody went around, got their like packages of food and stuff, and then they were exiting out the door. He looks down and sees all these paper towels, and he goes, whoa, 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 we didn't give him the paper towels. So he doesn't know the language. He can't say, hey, guys, by the way, so he starts screaming, hey, and he starts tossing paper towels at people. And that's what was taken so out of
They
context.
said it was so racist. How could he be so unsensitive? How
is that-
could he do that and throw these
That
bounties
descri-
at these people who are suffering?
That
At least it wasn't
describes-
spick and span.
That describes the media's
Facts.
That describes the media's treatment of him in a nutshell.
Exactly.
For all 4 years, you were
Every day.
giving
Everything he said.
pieces
Yeah.
that they wanted to give you. It's like I said earlier. Okay, when they said, "Oh, when the black guy that got off the same day as Kyle Rittenhouse, oh, but that's not as often as," and it's like, why do you think that it's not as often? Because you're not shown.
Right.
Well, the same way they don't show when cops kill white people.
Exactly.
Which
You
are
don't
killed
think
much
that
more
happens
often.
often because you're not shown.
Right.
But we could definitely go on like forever on the mistakes of our peoples.
Yes.
Well, not my people's, but their people's. But I did definitely want you guys to talk a little bit about how, you guys want to start your own podcast.
Yes.
So that you can inform those that are following you.
Correct.
Whichever one wants to go first. I don't know if you guys are going to do a joint thing.
Yeah, we plan on doing a joint thing,
It's
yes.
together.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then go ahead
And we definitely
tell
plan
us.
on having you guys on our first show.
You know how it is.
Well, you lead because this is your baby. I'm just the.
Well, the whole thing about Patriot Position was, just take a stand, put yourself in a place, separate yourself from your typical life as it was, or however it is, and basically, see if you can, if you could put yourself in a position to do something that is gonna actually help, and try to some sort of positive light on all this negativity. Now, people will look at the information we try to spread as misinformation, as negative. No. In time, I have no doubt that people will realize, that it helped, the information we put out, even if they don't want to accept it right now. So this whole thing for me was just about putting myself in a place, changing myself as people saw me before, and putting myself in a position where people see me as, wow, this guy's trying to do something to help. He's trying to do something to actually, give people the information that they don't have. Like, because there's so much information people don't have. And I'm like, I got to put myself in a position where people take me seriously when I'm trying to give them this information. So I did the whole logo, I'm like, I want people to just look at this like this is a real thing.
Yes.
I want you to take me seriously. And I put myself in that position. I put myself in that position. That's why I call it Patriot Position. So this has been nothing more for me than just getting people the information that they don't have, because I've seen how easy it is to hide it right in people's face.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've seen how effortlessly they can hide information right in front of you. Right in front of you. You will look and you choose to look right past it.
They're magicians, all right.
They are very, very good. They're very good. It's wicked. It's very wicked. So we hope, that the podcast will go a little bit further, because I do the posts. I got an Instagram where I make videos, that's another way. So we just feel like, maybe the podcast would be a little bit more of a straightforward thing and a more straightforward approach, as to where I'm not being sarcastic, I'm not being through memes, I'm not trying to be sarcastic, and I'm not making funny videos. I'm just going to give it to you straight.
Okay.
I love it.
What's the time frame we're looking to, maybe
Starting?
kickstarting? That way I have it
Hopefully
recorded.
within the next month.
Before the end of the year.
Definitely before the end of the year. Definitely before the end of the year, I look to at least have, one or two
recorded. Okay.
one or two episodes ready to go.
That's awesome.
That's exciting.
You guys are an inspiration. So I watched like I said, she sent me the link the other day. I was at work. I work at a desk on the computer. Hopefully my boss isn't watching this. He's probably going to see this. He's lying. He didn't do that.
Oh, he didn't watch it.
I was watching it on the computer at work. But so I had to click back and forth, but the sound kept going. So I was listening even when I couldn't watch. And I'm just like, man, like this is the way. This is it right now. This is how we fight back.
Yeah. Our voices.
This is how we fight back. This is how we get people that might laugh at us or to take us a little more seriously. Like I told her, I said, once they see this right here, this podcast, so many of the people that have attacked us are going to be like, wow, they're really serious. They're not joking around. Like no matter what we say,
there's more of
they're
them.
carrying on.
Mm-hmm.
They're carrying on. They're continuing no matter what we say to them. Like, and it's like, yes, because we actually believe what we say.
Right.
And we wouldn't do this if we didn't. I'm not doing this to make people angry. I'm not doing this. This is no fun. This is no fun to argue with people, to get people to message you, negative. This is not fun, but it's necessary. It's so necessary. Shay can elaborate.
I'm gonna interject just because even though it's not fun, right? It's not fun,
You do
but
get a good feeling. Huh? You do get a sort of a good feeling.
yeah, I get it. I get a great feeling. But what's even more great is connecting with people who are like-minded, who are so passionate, who are good, wholesome people, who just want the best future for not only themselves, but their children and their children's children.
Yep.
Right.
We want to be able to stand up now, because if you're not standing up now, what are you doing? Like right now is the time to stand up. Right now, if you feel, you have to feel something is wrong. You have to feel some things are not right. And if you're not, you need to get a little more in touch, because things are going on right now.
And it's not
Our
corny
kids-
to care. It's not corny to care.
Oh my gosh.
But that's the issue. Right now, our kids, right? Well, not our kids because we homeschool, but the kids in school systems, they're starting to see something. And they're starting to get angry. There's plenty of kids who are just not liking what's going on in their schools.
Correct.
My fear is this. If we do not stand, if we do not make the arguments that we have to, if we don't put out the content that is needed for them to find,
Yes.
okay, that there are people who think like they are,
Yeah.
okay, they're going to get to high school and they're just going to buy the narrative.
Correct.
Because no one else is willing to say what they feel right now.
Stand up for them.
So it's not only that we care for our future, our children's future, but it's the sense of we care for your child.
Well, that's exactly
Okay.
what I'm saying. Children,
We
not even
want-
ours. Just
We
Children in
want,
general.
but it's
save
a
the
community.
children.
Yeah.
It's a community. It's to be united. We're called the United States. And at one point we were united. Okay. At one point we did everything as a group. We actually counted actual votes and said,
look at like
this is
9/11.
where we're going.
Like, look at 9/11.
everyone had flags on their cars.
Everybody. It was
So
like,
united.
it was like, yo,
cried.
I'm American.
But
yo.
you know
Like,
what?
Don't
It's
you
that-
dare speak bad. Like, don't you dare after what just happened. Don't you dare say nothing
You know,
negative
it's
about
funny
this.
you're referring to that. Two things. One, when it happened, my sister took me somewhere she needed to buy a car or whatever. We were there, and I saw people driving up and down. It was a main street in Woodbridge with flags, and I remember crying because up until then, I think I was 19 or so. I don't remember 18. I don't ever remember people being that passionate
Yes.
about this
Or
country.
kind.
Patriotic about
And
this
kind.
country. People were very kind
So
to each other.
kind.
Everybody was just so
Tender with each other.
so loving to each other.
Yeah.
It was like, yo, we just like went
We're
through something
alive.
together. Like,
Yeah.
Little did we
none of
know.
us knew how that day was gonna end.
And there was no color.
We didn't know. We didn't know.
It was a
Right,
long day.
right.
It was it was a long day. It started in the morning, and nobody knew how that day was gonna end. And
facts.
everybody was sharing the one thought, one notion, like, "Yo, what is gonna happen to us? What is gonna happen to us?" And when we made it through the next day, we were all very grateful to be like, "Damn, we made it through this day."
That's
like,
right.
And then the next day, and then we were like, "Yo, we're alive!" Like, damn, like,
Right.
like you know.
But
we were
even
just all
that
happy.
feeling to know that the government was behind all of that. But look at how they, again, without, I don't even know if they
Careful now.
really
Let's be
realize.
careful. Careful.
I mean, it's not anything that no one doesn't know. But
There's some people that
there's some people, you know what?
Holding on.
There's people that I've spoken to who I wouldn't think would even have questions, but they're like, no, I know there's certain little conspiracies
Right,
around
right,
9/11, right?
yeah,
But they don't want to completely say.
They won't go
But they
full-fledged.
know some things aren't adding
Well,
up.
they're definitely afraid of being one of those,
Yeah.
as they would call it. But I mean, you can't deny it. And I forgot who was the guy.
Let me just say, conspiracy theories. Conspiracy theorists, so hot right now.
yeah, they're definitely the it. What is
I don't have any more left
The
if all come
guy-
true.
Right.
what is
Right,
the
we need
guy
new
who
ones.
did Fahrenheit 9/11 or something like that?
Michael Moore.
Right when he came out with that, everyone was like, "Oh, he's insane! He's insane! He's insane!"
He is
Then
insane.
other people, yeah, I'm
other
not saying
reasons.
he's not, but what I am saying is he opened a door to a lot of people looking things up.
Yeah.
And then
about
finding. But not only that, so I watched a guy who does demolition in the city. And he was explaining the way they fell, the way this happened, not as in anything. It's just from his knowledge of doing demolition.
It's a controlled
So
demolition.
he couldn't understand how. And
I can't understand how buildings.
so though this guy was a nutcase, I really
Building
think
7 didn't kill itself.
no, I really think that our government did a nice test with us. Okay, to see how we react.
That was
And then little by little allowed people to release certain things to see, okay, have we dumbed these people down enough where we can get away with this?
that we can have all this information come out
Okay,
and we don't get no pushback.
yeah.
No.
And then let's see. Because if you notice, and especially lately a lot more, there's so many outrageous things that are going on. And little things. Like right now, people are still arguing whether it was made in a lab or not made in a lab. Yet we have all the evidence that it was made in a lab.
Don't forget that
Who's your sources?
his high
that's the
almighty Bill Gates recently, I think it was November 2nd or 4th, I'm sorry, I'm bad with dates, had said something about we should really be looking into smallpox because you just never know. You just never know.
They always tell you what they're going to do before they do it.
And November 12th, they found those smallpox vaccines. Vaccines. I'm already thinking of that. Smallpox vials in Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania? Really? Just 4 smallpox vials?
Second time he predicted something that came true.
He's a genius.
This man is like a clairvoyant or something. This guy is.
But the problem is that you put it out there, right? Here, look. You see? No.
I can't read that because then I'm a conspiracy theorist.
No way. I'm waiting for Santa
It's in the
Claus to show
newspaper.
up.
It's in the newspaper yet.
It's just...
He also predicted the COVID thing.
That's what I said. That's the second thing he predicted that came true.
This is also the man that used to make the viruses for Microsoft and then sell you the stuff for you to get the virus off your computer.
Yeah.
He's
also the
He's took
man-
that motto and evolved it, hasn't he?
He also invented the Common Core. And only after about 3 to 4 years, he said, oops, I guess it wasn't that good, this Common Core. But don't worry, because I've already made up a new one and it's ready to go and
Like
it's
a
much
mad
better.
scientist. That's what that is.
Well,
Who also was very good friends with Epstein and gave him millions of dollars.
Now, do you guys know about the situation where they found someone at one of his properties and they found child pornography on a computer?
Oh, that was Epstein, right? Yep.
No.
Bill Gates.
Somebody that worked for Microsoft was staying at one of Bill Gates' properties, and on the computer the computer that belonged to the property,
Right.
there was
There was
child
child
porn on it.
Right.
So wouldn't that be Bill Gates' computer?
On your property.
well, let's just say when this all
You
started
can
happening...
look this up.
No, I've seen it.
You
It's
can
real.
look this
Yeah.
up. This is not a conspiracy theory, YouTube. I'm not telling any lies. You can literally Google it and read the article.
What I found interesting regarding this
If it's still
gentle
out there.
person...
It's there. I looked it up the other day actually to send it to someone.
Yeah. Well, his lady... Didn't his lady just recently separate from him?
Melinda?
Divorced him,
She
yeah.
did.
Yeah.
About his relationship with Epstein.
But everything else, I mean,
Like you didn't know.
well, I think that she knew, but I think she was one of those people who didn't believe at first.
No, I think she knew. I think they all know. And I think that now it's getting to be more and more real.
Well-
Remember,
But why
You gotta keep in
I'm
mind.
trying to tell you, Ghislaine Maxwell,
Trial.
her trial starts on Monday.
And guess what? She doesn't want to be in the mix. So she's like, listen, let's get a divorce because you're going to be named.
Yeah.
And I'm not
He's
getting
gonna lose
dragged
money.
down with you.
He's going to lose all his
So
money.
she
and
wants to
stuff.
take half
So
now
she
while
takes
it's worth
half
something.
now while- yep.
Yo. And then
That
they
makes sense.
put an article out that they were with what was it? The not the Pope, but they had a private audience with some high ranking
Was it like a
The priest
king
or,
or
priest at the
bishops or
Vatican.
whatever, they're all child touchers. To me, right now at this point, the Pope,
Everybody that paid
all
attention
those
to the
guys.
Rittenhouse case, you better pay attention to this Ghislaine Maxwell case. You know what? I don't care what your feelings were in the Rittenhouse case. It's over now.
Yeah.
Pay attention to this one as much as you did to that one. Because guess what? You're going to find out a lot of things.
But that's the problem. They didn't pay attention
You're
to
not
that
ready.
one.
They did it.
Also, I don't
depends-
even know if it's going to be televised.
It's not.
They paid
They're
attention
saying
to
it's not.
OJ's like it was something miraculous going to happen. Well, it wasn't
Something
miraculous. He got
miraculous
off.
There's people that told me they watched the trial, right? I watched the whole trial. and will tell me something about the trial that didn't
never
happen.
happened.
I'm like, what trial did you watch? I'm like, I'm convinced you watched the 30-second
CNN.
news clip
Yeah,
somewhere,
exactly. They watch CNN.
and you're telling me you watched the whole trial. I'm like,
100%.
No, it was an episode of Law and Order that they watched because it had.
But Law and Order is more accurate.
Yeah, but the thing is that half of the stuff that I was reading was like,
where did you
like
get
I didn't even watch the whole trial. I'm not gonna lie and say, hey, I watched it. I worked.
I watched a large
Okay,
chunk of it. Not
I
the
was
entirety.
watching whatever I could squeeze in at the time. Okay, and the gun part where he was holding it, I was like, yo, this dude doesn't even know how to hold the gun. He didn't check the chamber. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. Blah. I'm not watching this crap. And I was like, I'm done. There was so many, but then I was like, the stuff that I did watch, I know I saw it with my own eyes. I'm hearing people talk about it like it didn't happen.
Crazy. Yes, stuff with the video. There's so many people that have shown me, oh, that didn't happen. I'm like, there's literal video.
Yeah.
Did you watch it? Yeah. Oh, I did. I watched the whole thing. Are you sure?
But that's why you said it's like, or did you say it's like we're living in an alternate reality?
Yeah, it's an
'Cause we
alternate
are.
two realities.
It's crazy.
Two. There's two realities. It's split down the middle right now. Conservatives live in the real world.
But this is the biggest psyop ever.
Yo, this is the
Like ever.
biggest. The biggest.
Whoever is on top, they're playing Monopoly with
Yo,
our life.
the strings. Oh my God, it's
But you see, for me, like for you guys, this is something new. For me, as an evangelist, as a person who goes out and tries to tell people about Christ, I've been dealing with this
right. I'm sure you've seen this
for years because you'll go to a person, and again, it's not to convince them that God exists. It's not to convince them that Jesus did exist, right? There's all historical facts on it and so forth. But you go in, and there's people who want to argue with you what's in the Bible. Then you're like,
It's right there.
well, here's the Bible. Show me. Okay.
It's
Okay.
somewhere. It's
now,
somewhere.
Now, let me show you where you're wrong. Let me show you. And you show them the evidence, and it's there. You have one.
Well, that's your point of
and
view.
so on and so forth. They'll say it's your point of view. It's how you interpret it. No, the cat in the hat. That's all it says. There's nothing special about what it just said. It's simple words.
And that's the problem. What good are the facts if people just don't accept them? Are they still the facts if the overall, population doesn't believe it as a fact? Is it now not? Does it become now not a fact anymore?
Well, no, because there was an argument that someone had made with me that is kind of how I see everyone today. He took it to math, and that math was not absolute.
Oh,
Right? Math is the epitome of absolute.
Right.
Because 2 + 2 is always 4.
That's right.
You can't change
is a
that. You can't do
Princeton
anything.
math professor.
And this was a math professor in Princeton.
Progressive.
And I said to him, I was like, hold on a second. How are you a mathematician, right? A professor, and you don't believe in absolutes when, and I hit him with the little stupid quote where, well, is that absolutely true? Well, you can't make an absolute statement if nothing's absolutely true.
Exactly.
But either way,
That means there's no such thing as a fact.
but his answer was, well, 2 cars and 2 bikes don't make 4 car bikes. And I was like,
Well, obviously not.
what the hell? No, but it makes 4 means of transportation.
Yes.
Like, you're the best, because Princeton is
it's
the best.
Yeah.
Okay, mathematician in your department and here and whatever, and this is the stuff that you as a human being believe,
Wow.
and this is what you're teaching,
This is
which is why I have no problem homeschooling, because if that's the best,
this is progressing for progression's sake.
Yeah.
Like, let's just see how far we can progress till we progress right off of a cliff.
yeah.
Like, what in the world? Like, I don't understand it anymore. It's just like, let's just keep going, just to keep going. Let's just see how outlandish and how far we can go with it.
But
Let's
you
just
know
see
what?
how far it takes us.
This all has already happened with the Romans.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
why they failed. They fell. The most important in the strongest empire that ever existed, the Roman Empire,
Moral failure. Yep.
fell apart because of this. Like the is it a woman? Is it a man? Well, he wants her to be a man, or he wants him to be a woman. So I guess she's a woman.
And who are you to tell him that he's not?
It's literally what Nero did. He took a young boy and he cut off stuff and he put a dress on him and made him be his lover. It's literally what Nero did. And it was a little boy. So this is not new.
It's moral failure all over again. But the thing is that you You can say what you are.
But it's more than moral failure. It's what he was saying, which is like, there's no reality. There's no truth. Truth changes. Truth is whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
Because he was that. Like, it's not that he's a man. He's a woman now. You know, it's just like whatever I feel goes.
Yeah, there's like a tweet that I posted, and I made a video up on Instagram, where it says, there's no such thing as your truth.
Right. Sorry.
There's no such thing as your, and I see like Kamala Harris when she talks to the kids, oh, you know, you have a duty to express your truth, and you have to express your truth, and it's like, what is your truth? What does that
That's
mean?
an indoctrinational speech.
What does that mean? There is only one truth. There is no
Amen.
yours and yours and yours. No, there's one. One only. And if you don't agree with it, you're wrong.
Right.
But see, that is interesting to me in two ways, right? Because actually, facts are facts, right? Truth is truth.
Exactly.
But Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. So if Jesus is the truth, and there is no absolute truth, Jesus is nothing.
Yeah,
And-
that's how they work it.
And that's a lot of the things, that for me have been why I like, no, this has to stop, because while the politics is the screen, what they're doing on the other side of true Christianity is getting erased. My God.
It's there's a war on like common sense
And truth.
and truth, common sense, you know,
Reality.
nobility.
There's no end to everything that we're fighting right now. It's just every single day it's something new.
If they continue on this way, there's no end in sight but to oblivion. You know what I mean? That's the only way. That's the only place we're headed. If it continues this way, it cannot sustain itself this way. Like a country can't sustain itself this way. When you tell people that they can make up whatever facts they want, or when you tell people that they can ignore the facts, and when you tell people that they can have their own truths, you can't sustain that. How do you sustain that for millions of people? You know, there has to be, you know, the checks and the balances. So to just have a country, a society full of people that make up their own truth, this is how you start. This is how you lay the seeds for cultural wars, you know, color revolutions and things like that, because nobody's gonna agree.
Well, I think that that's the whole point, though, to the decay amongst each other. I felt like right before Obama, we were in a good place.
We were.
Right? Like, we were getting along and things were fine.
Or at least that's what we were sold.
That was our illusion of the moment. For a moment, it was, but it
We were
felt,
sold that illusion, yes. I
you
believe.
know,
I felt like we were, like, cohesive and doing okay. And, like, we were one country. And, yeah, we made fun of each other. Like, oh, you know, them in the South. And them.
you know what? But also the internet is very advanced too. And that allowed a lot of bullying and people to be behind the screen and
Social
say whatever
media.
they want, and just, you know, I could say whatever I want because I'm doing this. I don't know you from anything. You live all the way over there. Let me say whatever. So it was a lot of attacking. And since I was younger, it was always the internet is going to be the demise of everyone.
Well, in order for that to happen, they had to create a sensitive child, though. Because how many times have people been mean to you and you're like, whatever, dude. I don't even know you. I don't even know.
Right.
Like, we had common sense. Like, yeah, you can say whatever you want about my mama. You don't know my mama.
But I feel like that also comes hand in hand with just us just trusting
Well,
everything.
yes.
But also we
Schools,
abdicated. Exactly.
Yeah.
Everything.
Exactly.
We were just like, you know
abdicated our
what?
children.
They're going to do what they need to teach our children. I trust you. I trust your teacher. Or if
put
my
too
kid
much
is
faith.
failing, I'm like, well, why are you failing? You know what I mean? Like, because I'm not being taught properly, because I don't connect. So it was a lot of that. And it's like, we've just been so trusting, even with doctors. I trust you. You're going to, whatever is in the, you know, you know better than me. You went to school for it. I trust you.
Right.
Now it's like, question everything.
Oh, I love it.
Everything.
Well, the wake up for me, especially about our history, was so I wasn't the best student.
No.
Neither was I. Neither was I.
No. I mean, I got put in special ed because they didn't want me to walk halls. Okay. They
Oh,
didn't
you were a
want me-
roamer. You were a roamer?
No, he
No.
was a beater upper.
No.
Oh, you were a bully.
No. See, you paint the wrong picture. I was not a bully. If anything, I saved bullies from bullies. But anyways,
He bullied bullies.
I got kicked out of too many classrooms for making fun of teachers, so on and so forth. I wasn't a student or a studious student.
Oh, you were the guy that I would laugh at that was clowning the teacher, and I would just laugh.
Yes, and then I'd get
Got it.
kicked out.
I
and
love
so
those
on.
guys.
So when I started high school, they put us in a room, in a corner,
Prison.
3 floors up. No one needed to go near us. We were not allowed
It's a
to walk
quad
the
bobo
halls.
class.
Well, we called it. Well, no,
Exactly.
because we weren't remedial classes. We were called Carteret Prep. They actually used to have it outside of the high school, in a like a
different
mile
building.
away. It was just one room for us to go there, and we would learn like basic math. So, being that I wasn't a complete idiot, they couldn't keep me busy with work. So I was always good with numbers. So math was too easy. The reading comprehension, I read The Cat in the Hat in kindergarten. Like I read all these stupid books. Like now I'm bored. So what does a bored person do?
Make problems.
Make problems. Okay. So they decided to put me my freshman year in a senior class called World History. No, American History, USA History. And I took that for a semester. But obviously it was their mistake. That's the only place they could fit me. It was middle of the year. Then my next year I had to take a different history, but I already took a senior history. So what do you give him? They gave me African American studies.
Okay.
And it was African American, like as how it went down from the beginning to this and that, how they got here. And the narrative on both, the timelines were the same, but 2 different narratives.
2 different histories.
So I had the government version of history and I had the black version of American government history, right? They basically both painted it, however, they contradicted so much that I just went to the library and started picking up my own history books.
It's crazy.
Okay. And at that point, there is when I was like, yo, I don't even trust what's being taught
Right,
here. Like,
absolutely.
is 2 + 2 4? Like, this is crazy.
I wish I paid more attention like that in school to
I was bored. I
It
had no
didn't
choice.
indoctrinate me because I didn't pay much attention.
Thank God for ADD.
Yeah.
I didn't pay much attention in school. I'm gonna be honest. You know, I'm gonna be honest. I was not.
But I loved history.
I was
because-
not a model student. I was not a.
I don't think anybody in here was.
But you graduated, right? Because then you can't make fun of those that
I
didn't graduate.
graduated. I graduated.
Right.
I stuck
It's called
it
the
through.
callback.
I stuck it through. I made it out. But you know, I didn't. I wish. Well, I don't wish now, but I didn't really pay.
But see, no, the
me.
thing
I
is-
didn't really buy into the BS.
Which is good. Because see, a lot of but believe it or not, a lot of the people who right now are seeing what it is are those that did attend,
Right.
but haven't they weren't taking in the fruit.
Right.
And
Thank
they've
God.
been able to actually, so if anything, they taught you enough of what you needed to do as an adult to find out the information that you have today.
You speaking of what you were saying about the 2 different histories, I was very young. I think I was like 8 or 9 years old. I was in Argentina. My cousin took me to the aquarium, I think it was. And it's funny because we were going around looking at different things, and we get to a spot, and it's a huge, like, they have like links around so you can't get into this middle hole, but there's nothing there. And my Spanish wasn't great reading it at that time. I was like barely reading Spanish. So I'm trying to read this thing, but I'm struggling. I said to my cousin, what is that? Because it's just a hole in the ground. So I'm like, what is that thing? And he goes, no, it's nothing. There was a, what's it called when a bone, like,
Artifact.
it was like,
Archaeologists dig a fossil.
it was a fossil. It was a fossilized spider, which was like 10 feet by 10 feet. It was huge. This hole was enormous.
Wow.
And I said, okay, so where'd it go? We're like, what happened to it? And this woman that was cleaning the floor came out to us and said, it's those Americans. They took it from us. And I was confused. I said, well, how did the Americans take it from you? And she goes, well, they came here and they paid, I forgot how many millions, she said, and they took it. And I said, so they bought it. Mind you, I'm a kid. I'm like 9 years old, right? And so they bought it. And she goes, "Oh, they took it. They take everything we have, everything that's in our country." And it's funny because my cousin, being maybe 2 years older than me, he goes, "But aren't you Chilean?" 'Cause I was in Argentina. She was Chilean. He could tell by the accents. And Latin countries are pretty racist with each other. Argentinians really don't like Chileans because they usually come to the country and they take the jobs, and they're kind of
They're the Mexicans.
Exactly. I was gonna say they're the Mexicans of the Argentina.
Sounding familiar, America?
Yeah, precisely. But it was funny because as a young kid, I was able to see like, oh, so you can write your own history as you go. Because they clearly didn't come here and steal something that was 10 feet by 10 feet and take it back to America. She said they paid millions for it. But she was here telling me these Americans came and stole it. And it was then that I realized, oh, so you just got to be very careful where you get your facts from.
Your information.
That matters. And I got to tell
Her
you.
cleaning the floor didn't give it up.
No, because I respect everybody equally. It doesn't matter if she cleans the floor. She might have all the information. But the fact is that she was full of it. But this is why the best compliment I've ever gotten for our kids, and I've said this a few times to people, but the best compliment I've ever gotten was when our kids have always been homeschooled forever. They've never been to a school other than homeschool. But we did a co-op for a few years. And in one of the co-ops, one of my kids' science teacher took me aside and said, "Your kids, oh my goodness." And of course my heart drops. I'm like, "Well, what did they do?" And she goes, "No, they're amazing. They question everything." And I was a little bit confused. I said, "What do you mean they question everything?" She's like, "Well, every time I gave them a fact, your kids will ask, but where did you get that information from?
That's awesome.
Who said it? Where did they get that information from?
That's awesome.
How come? Where are we reading this from?
That's
Who
awesome.
wrote it?"
That's
And
amazing.
and I was like, "Oh, thank God they're listening."
That's amazing.
But it's it's vital. We get a lot of information from CNN and
This
MMPC.
is how you fight back. This is how you fight back.
Telemundo.
This is how you fight back. And I'm telling people all the time, like, people make jokes, they make their jokes. "Oh, you think you're gonna change the world?" I'm like, no, probably not. I'm like, I probably won't see change in my generation at all in my lifetime. I said, but if I can do something now that might lay the seeds to make the changes happen for my kids or maybe my kids' kids,
Yeah.
it's worth it.
Amen.
I may not see it happen now. I might die before it happens. But
Think
Or
about
they
the
might
apple
look back
trees.
and look at this.
my grandkids
Our kids,
might.
you know what I mean? And
my
be like,
grandkids might
dang.
benefit from it.
But that's
My
the thing.
great-grandkids.
People used to plant apple trees knowing they'd never see an apple.
You know what I mean? Like it's
It was
not
for their
about
grandkids.
It's not about you. It's not about doing it for you.
Exactly.
And that's the problem we have now with
it
this
is.
country is because everybody's so selfish and they want to. Oh well,
Me.
it's not going to happen for me. So why even try?
Exactly.
You have kids.
Yeah.
You have kids. You have several kids.
I have a lot more people that are actually asking me about homeschooling because I am doing it as well.
know
Like,
you
A lot of people.
So
Congratulations.
thank you. I have a lot of people that are asking, like, because, the vaccine mandates, they are coming.
They're coming.
And
I saw a lot of people, like, because their kids were home and they were watching what the teachers were teaching them, they all of a sudden had time to go, wait, what?
Yeah.
What did she just say to you?
So I have about like 3 people who I never thought would come to me and ask me. And they're like, well, what do you have to do? What do I have to get? And I'm like, listen, just call me. It's easier for you to call me. And then I just,
Yes.
so they're asking because they don't want their kids
And
to
these were
be.
people that pushed they pushed the narrative of
Yeah,
the
for a
vaccines,
while, yep.
and they were proud of the vaccines, and they were, oh yeah, look, and now it's like, wait a minute, my kid's gonna be forced to do it? I don't know if maybe I should be rooting.
And I think that's going to be one of the things too that a lot of people, a lot more people are going to start standing up.
I hope so.
When you're coming for the
their children.
kids.
I hope so.
Kids,
Right before COVID, like, boomed, right? It was December of 2019, and you were down in Trenton fighting against they were trying to, Sweeney, which, praise Jesus, was finally gotten rid of. He was one of our senators.
Shout out to Big Ed.
Yeah, Big Ed. Thank
Shout
you,
out to
Ed.
Big Ed, man. That was amazing.
Ed spent, what, $153
$153, if I'm not mistaken.
150
to run for senator, and he won over the incumbent.
And
which is-
Sweeney spent like millions.
and he'd been there for years.
People are tired, man.
People don't care about your fake paid for support anymore. People are seeing
Or
through
your
it.
profile.
But he was
we
the
want
one-
real people that can connect with us and are living what we're living. People that are in our
Facts.
reality.
Exactly.
I don't want someone who's saying, oh, well, we know what you're going through, but I live in a
Right.
penthouse
That's
and
a
I live
fact.
in a mansion. Like, no. I want the person that's living and paying these taxes
Absolutely.
too. I want that person.
In an ideal world, yes. In an ideal world. And there are certain people that today are running, and those are the ones that we need to get together and support
And Billy
and try to
Prempeh
help.
of
Billy Prempeh, man.
Patterson.
Shout out to Billy, man.
But with Sweeney, and I think this is where even the suburb moms,
That's what happened.
even they stepped out. We even had New York out here fighting.
New York and Pennsylvania.
So Sweeney tried
December
to take away religious
2019.
exemptions
Right.
and all exceptions
vaccines.
to vaccines, and that your child would have to be vaccinated to go to school, so on and so forth. Now, not everyone uses religious exemption. There are some people whose kids are allergic, whose kids can't take a certain thing. Certain people who have watched what's been going on and they've gotten scared. There's so many different things, and they were like, hold on a second. And they send people from New York, from Pennsylvania, like she said, and I've mentioned this before, and for me, I watched this and I was like, okay, where are the churches?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's religious
We had-
exemption.
We had Bobby Kennedy,
That is very true.
Robert Kennedy, sorry. We had Robert Kennedy out here. We had Del Bigtree from California out here. We had people from all over the country out here trying to support us. And we didn't have people in our own church's community in Jersey out supporting the religious exemption because just get your kids vaccinated.
Major missed opportunity. Major.
Absolutely. But you know what the thing was then is moms kept saying, how are my kids going to give your kids something they don't have? How
That
can
they're
my kids
protected
give
from.
your kids measles? Because the idea is your kid has to get vaccinated for measles because if he doesn't, your kid will give it to my kid. But first, your kid's already vaccinated for measles. And second, how can my kid give your kid a thing that my kid does not have? Right. And now we're saying the same argument for COVID vaccines. I'm like, if you people had been out here with us in December of 2019 instead of fighting us, maybe we wouldn't be where we are right now.
Exactly.
Because there's the same argument.
Well, they want us to be the lab rats so that the rich people can get the cures for whatever medicine they need.
The amount of Congress people that have money invested into these vaccines.
Well, not just that. They also have exemptions. The Congress and the Senate and anybody who works at the White House
Don't
are
have to take
exempt from the mandates of vaccines.
Listen to that again.
Yes, sir. So we said we were going to discuss a little later Travis Scott and what's going on with that. Now, the part for me that I want to bring up, and because it's my show, I get to be first. Woohoo!
Yes.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but first, all the videos of people screaming, help, help, this, that, all that went on. And it was 2 weeks later, they put out I showed you this video. It was 2 weeks later that they showed a horrible, you could tell it was cut up and changed
Oh, yeah, it was crazy.
video of him going, hey,
Wait a minute.
that person, did you see how horribly doctored that was?
I saw that.
Okay,
I did.
the stage looked different, the angle looked different. He was facing this way, but the way he was kind of towards the camera, so you can tell it was him.
Yeah.
Yo, it was the worst. Like, listen, I'm no pro, and I could have did a better job. And that for me just shows the depravity of what was going on and how easily swayed people are.
Yes. Easily
To
manipulated.
not care.
Easily
To not care how bad of a butch job it looks.
Yeah.
To not care at the fact that, because we have the facts now.
We had the facts when it got released the day of.
So I know, but now we have like a rundown about how he waited, I seen somebody today had the fact like, at 8:39, someone walked on stage to tell him. And it wasn't until like 9:30
That he gave a crap,
that he didn't actually give a shit.
Wow.
So there was like a whole 40-minute period of him like, somebody just died? Okay, let me just keep it for me.
Wow.
And the craziest part where he's like, you know what you came here to do.
Yes, I heard that too.
Excuse
There
me.
was just so many weird things that's not coincidental to me. First of all, See You on the Other Side
That's crazy.
was
That was plastered all over the place.
everywhere. And it was plastered right in the center of the spiral. I watched a video of a girl, it's a white girl. she was in the crowd and she's explaining. She's like, honestly, man, she's like, it felt like we were being sucked into the portal, the stage, because it looked like a portal.
They look like a portal behind.
She said it felt like we were literally being sucked into it. She said because you were just getting pushed forward into it.
That's
and like
crazy.
no matter how much you tried to go back, you couldn't.
That's crazy.
Another one I watched, the guy, he's like, I literally felt like I was at a concert in hell.
Yeah, I've seen those.
And just watching people
Like their chest felt like it was caving in because they couldn't breathe.
couldn't breathe.
And they were
Nobody
outside.
could hear you.
And they were outside.
Nobody could hear you screaming. You're screaming, but you couldn't even hear yourself screaming. And then you're looking for somebody to notice you screaming, but everybody's just looking around you like partying, like, yeah, raging, standing on top of people, raging on top of them. They wouldn't stop. They would just kept going.
Very demonic.
People getting pulled, packed to the wall where you see people getting pulled out. I'm like, that is the perfect way to describe that. You were in a concert in hell.
So, have you guys ever heard of a thing called the Higgs boson?
The Higgs boson. Yeah. Okay, so this is the God particle, I believe, right?
Yes, go ahead.
About them trying to find ways to new dimensions and things like that. The CERN, with CERN. I believe that was a CERN machine.
They look just like it.
It looked just like it. His stage set looked exactly like the machine that they
upside
built,
down cross.
the CERN. And this is what they do. They play with dark matter to try to create
They bring in priests.
priests
They
and
bring
everything.
in demonic, satanic priests to do like a ritual.
Chanting.
To do a ritual right before they turn it on.
Have you seen like some of the rituals they do?
Oof.
Just Google, whenever you get a chance later, like just Google YouTube one and like just watch one. They're just some of the creepiest like presentations ever. Like the creepiest. And it's like a bunch of people with giant heads bowing to it. It's just like, this couldn't be more demonic if you tried.
Well, Rogan was talking about a drug. And now here's the thing, right? So let's say I get some acid. You take acid, you take acid, you take acid. We're all acid up. My trip, your trip will never be the same. My high, your high will never be the same. Whatever we hallucinate,
Ayahuasca. You're talking about.
Yeah.
He was talking about.
we will never
hallucinate the same
ever
thing.
hallucinate the same thing because our brains are completely different and hallucinations are from within our brain.
Right.
So the name of it was?
Ayahuasca.
These are people who are taking this, right?
20, 30, 40 people in a room, and they're all having the same exact
Same hallucination of a certain being or a certain thing and certain whatever.
And
So-
it's not one time or two times. It's like everybody that goes down there and does this stuff.
That is
It's the same. And again, it's an
Probably a
impossibility
CIA experiment.
unless
there's something higher at play there.
okay, exactly. Unless whatever's going on, okay, is beyond us.
Right.
There's
And I'm
something
not talking
higher.
about in the right way.
Yeah, no.
Okay. And now, see, if people paid attention to stuff like this, right, as it goes through, when you hear something like cistern, what's it called?
CERN?
CERN, cistern, toilet, same shit. Oh, pun intended, maybe. It shouldn't shock you,
No, it shouldn't.
right?
Right. Especially if you're a Christian person that believes in God.
Exactly.
I don't know. We know a lot of Christians that don't believe in this demonic stuff. It's like,
Because they don't read the Bible.
How do you believe in God but not the devil?
How do you
Well, the Bible says that we will battle with principalities and powers. Okay, that we're at war with principalities and powers, but it's not talking about government. It's not talking about anything because then it talks about a spiritual armor that we're supposed to put on. Right. Why are we supposed to put on a spiritual armor to go against principles and powers if it's spiritual?
Right.
So obviously, the spiritual realm or the spiritual world, whatever anyone wants to call it, has to be something. And if there is good, there has to be the opposite.
Right.
So
I think so.
as a Christian, like, listen, worldly fine. I mean, with a lot of horror movies and stuff that people watch, I'm not surprised that they wouldn't know it, or believe it, I should say, because they're indoctrinated in it.
Yep.
But for a Christian to say something like that, and then we see concerts and we see certain things like this, and then we're shocked. But for me, again, it still goes back to the fact that they watched the videos and acted like they weren't real. But when they put the real fake one out.
Yeah, they want to believe it.
They wanted to believe it so bad.
So there's something that I hadn't seen until like all of this was out, which was a video of Travis Scott earlier when it was still light out, and he was body surfing. You know, that's when you throw yourself into the crowd and the crowd passes you around.
Yeah.
Where they removed the shoes.
Oh, that was from a separate concert.
Oh, okay.
But I see what you're talking about when he told everybody,
Stop everything. He stopped everything.
stop
Beat
everything
his ass,
for a
beat
pair of
his
shoes,
ass,
for a sneaker.
For his sneakers.
For a sneaker.
Were they Jordans?
And then he told a bunch of people to just start pounding on this one
Yes.
guy.
Yeah. You
Now-
see him right there? You see him right there? Get him.
So now what you're doing is you're telling a bunch of people to physically assault someone, Travis Scott. Now, if this kid suffers
Is that inciting
major,
violence?
that's definitely inciting violence.
Absolutely.
If this kid suffers a major injury or dies, guess who's responsible? You're on camera ordering people to do it.
And who's not going to do it for him?
But his puppet master's going to pay it off before it even hits anything. And that's how everything works.
It is baffling to me that I've seen so many people. Oh, you people are crazy. You people are crazy. Oh, this devil worshiping stuff and this Satan ritual stuff, and you really think that's what happened at the concert? And I'm like, go back, watch the videos, look at the messaging, the phoenix flying through, the phoenix, the see you on the other side, the shirt he had on that had blue people crossing through a door coming out on the other side is red with horns.
Yeah.
And falling.
How many more coincidences do you need?
But again, it's the
How much
delusional
more
world
proof
that we
do you
live in.
need?
You said it in the beginning. It's almost like we're living in a simulation. Okay? And it's interesting because certain Christian doctrine would say that we're living out a videotape.
Oh.
Okay? That this has already happened since God is omnipresent outside of time.
And we're outside of time.
That this is just the remainder of time. Okay? And it's funny because the more things go, and not that I'm a strong believer in that, but the more things go in the way they are, it's almost like, can God please hit rewind at some point? Like hit stop,
Or
hit something.
fast forward.
Or get us somewhere, because I can't understand the mental illness
Right.
that we have going on, running this country.
Right.
Okay? Making choices for us.
Right.
I just feel like since January,
My first one.
just seems like every day it's something else where it's like, oh my God,
Since
oh my
2000
God. What? It's just, when is it? Boom.
Since 2019.
All right. Time to go up. You know what I mean?
It's funny you guys are saying that because I feel like it's been much longer. Like, I feel like the entire presidency with Trump, I felt the same way. Like, this month it's this thing with the drones and killing all these people, and then the what's that? The student thing that Bill Gates made. Common Core, and it was teaching real sexual stuff to children, like very vulgar, nasty stuff with pictures and showing this is how a man with a man, and this is a man and a woman, and this is a woman with a woman and a man with one leg. And why are we talking about men with one leg? And what? Why do eighth graders need this?
You're also talking about the same people who were telling women to not use the natural way of it, and that it should be done. I'm trying to keep it as PG as possible, but from the other side. And now one of the highest rating surgeries for women at 18
prolapse anuses
is that one.
So girls were being told not to use their vaginas for what they were meant for, and to use other parts. And now girls less than 30 are having these prolapse anus reconstructive surgeries that were only seen in like older homosexual men. I mean, it's like...
But no, the cases have gone up even at 18, 19, 20. Wow. And it's stuff that's being taught in schools. And now they're trying to take that back because it's like, oops, we messed up again. And no one's saying nothing.
All experiment. But by the way, I know this might go a little bit back, but under President Ronald Reagan, who the conservatives love, there was a woman... and of course now I'm blanking on her name, but she was his Secretary of Education. She had no experience, but it really didn't matter because he had promised to get rid of the education, like Secretary of Education thing.
Yeah.
He was going to get rid of all of it. So she's in there. She's looking around stuff, looking at paperwork, and just everything she can find, she's reading. And she finds paperwork that goes back to God knows when about Henry Ford, Rockefeller, and I can't remember who the other guy is, but I'm sure you guys will know who he is. Working out why they wanted a public education system and why they were personally pouring in their millions of dollars into a public education system because their whole point was to make people just dumb enough to press the button, smart enough to press the button, and too dumb to ask any questions. And if you think about it, that is exactly where we are right now.
And on that note, any closing statements you guys have? Anything you want to let the people know before we go?
Well, I just want to say I'm, very thankful for you guys for having us here today. You know what I mean? It's been a very, very, very great conversation. I think that,
I feel like we could go on forever.
I feel like we could. I honestly feel like we could go on all
We
that.
probably could.
Really
We probably
could.
could. And that's great. That just goes to show,
We don't only
Flow
have to do
naturally.
one, guys. We could definitely come back and do
this
this.
is not the
Right.
end.
I wasn't saying we're only going to
This
do
is
this
not the
one.
end. I don't
I
know.
get it. You're starting your own, but I still want you back.
No, we're coming back.
We're coming back. I don't live far from here, so I'll definitely be back. Absolutely. But, I appreciate, you giving us opportunity to come speak and, just basically give our side of, how we feel about everything. I'm really, really, really love the conversation mixing, with the Christianity and the politics. It was very, very, very informative. And, I just hope that people appreciate things like this more because this is not, nobody's doing this to hurt you. This is all to help, so I hope people understand that. Shay?
You literally speak for me every single time because as he's saying, I'm like, yes. Obviously, I agree with everything that he's saying. I want to thank you guys for allowing us to do this. Like I said, we could literally go on forever. One of the main reasons why he and I are so good when we work together, it's because we literally bounce things off of each other all day. And the minute that something breaks, he's sending it to me. I'm sending it to him.
Yep.
It's getting posted. I want to become a source for everyone.
Oh, you are. You become it.
I want to become this,
She's become
well,
it.
yeah. But I just want to be able to, for people to get their information and be like, oh, well, because there's things that I will see and I'll post it and then I'll hear it later on in the afternoon on the radio, 710 a.m. radio. Don't know if you guys listen to it. It's a conservative-based radio station. They have Sean Hannity on it. They have like Rush Limbaugh, who obviously has passed. He was on there, and they have Jesse Kelly. They have a lot of people on there. So I listen to that, and I hear things that we may have posted like 2 days ago, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like we clearly are ahead with a lot of things. So it's just
You're
like
on the
certain
pulse.
things. Yeah, so certain things I'll send to him, and he doesn't see it, and he'll post it, or I won't see it, and I'll post it. So I just love that and being able to
That's
just
awesome.
connect with a whole bunch of people. And I feel like I've known you guys literally forever. It's just good
I've just
feel.
met you guys and I feel like I've known you forever.
So here's to, family. Here's to long life living friends and us always being connected and our kids being connected and things like that. I love this. I think that this is the purpose for us to connect with people who we, get along with very well. And it's just, it's love.
Amen.
That's the biggest thing. And even from the moment I first met you guys, I was just like, we didn't leave Starbucks for like ever.
Not
Bill-
Starbucks. It was somewhere else.
And build
We don't go there.
and build your own community.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? You can build your own community now. You don't have to, your community doesn't have to be the people you live around. I mean, that's always lovely, you know what I'm saying? It's always
Right.
great to love your neighbors and to know your
Yeah,
neighbors
absolutely.
and that. But, I don't live next door to them. But we're a part of the same community now.
Absolutely.
Because, we have the same beliefs, we share the same views, same values. This is my community. So
right.
build your community. I mean, find your people.
Yes.
Find your people and hold on to them. Make them your friends. Go out with them, plan things together with them.
Yeah.
That way you can that way instead of feeling like you're constantly talking to people that don't want to hear you, you can go sit down with people that do. Yeah. And it is such a relief.
And the conversations go just like this. When you find your people, it's like you could sit here and just talk for hours because there's so many different things and you want to hear people's opinions. Everyone's their own person. So you want to hear other people's point of views and things like that. So it's just very it just gives you this
refreshing and
feeling inside of you where you're just like, oh yes,
like it's a reassurance,
and that it is it, because we're being isolated by all these divisions. So it's awesome that we definitely, I've been telling Christians this forever, but even non-Christians, like to build the community like you're saying, because God created us to be relational beings. That's why when the man was alone, he said it is not good for man to be alone.
The only thing he made that wasn't good.
Okay? Right. And out of everything that he created, everything else was good. So, and here we are. And I got to say, I thank you guys. And the reason I fell in love with Patriot Position was, even with Kyle, like, I needed to know, and I just checked your pages. Awesome. Like, if I can check your pages, I know whatever's going on, I'm going to find it out.
Yeah,
if I get to my wife beforehand, then I'm sorry, she beats you to it.
Nice.
But with
That's
you
awesome.
guys.
I strive to be like you.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, like, but you guys, I can look on there, and it's not only here's the news, but here's where you can go to get the news.
Absolutely.
Which is, for me, amazing, because a lot of people will put things out, and then a lot of people are lazy and they want others to do their work. But for me, it was like, all right, cool. These aren't people who are just yelling things out or posting things that are loud, but they're also, you can fact check them.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And obviously,
that's one of our most important things. When we put things out, we definitely look it up first to make sure.
Absolutely.
And then we post it.
And don't get me wrong. I've been wrong. I've been wrong.
Very early on, though.
I've been wrong. I'm not here to say, I'm always right. No, I've been wrong. I've definitely been wrong, time in my life or two. More times than I can count. But that's part of the learning experience. You know what I mean? You gotta be a part of the learning experience. I've been wrong. I'm gonna be wrong in the future on plenty of things, I'm sure. But
I don't feel like I'm wrong on this, though.
No, not on this.
Well,
no, that's what I'm saying. I feel like this is the passion. In reality,
listen, when I started going into the Patriot Position and reading, there have been people that have put certain things that aren't necessarily accurate. No. I've seen you check it. I've seen different people say, hey, listen, I don't know if you got that right. Like, that's what we're supposed to do. So it's not that we're always going to be perfect, but at least we have the type of community that is willing to be corrected.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
And that's what a battle is. You have to be willing to be corrected. You have to be willing to be wrong.
Wow.
You know what I mean? You have to be willing to be wrong. It's fine. It's perfect. I was wrong once. She was wrong once. We were wrong.
But it only happened once.
There was a time. There was a time that I was, like I said, I was on the complete opposite.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? I was like, oh my God, this guy's a racist. What's happening to our contract?
Everything is not racist.
You know what I mean? Like, it was just like, I was like so entrenched in it. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, wow.
I wish I could send your old you a picture of you wearing this hat.
God, I wish I could. Because I have a fucking heart.
You could have a heart attack.
I have a heart attack.
I have a button for that, though.
All right, cool. He would literally have a seizure. Like,
you think so?
What? What?
Who put that on him?
Yo, who's that racist right there? Oh, wait, hold up.
I became racist in the future?
Like, you would have told me I was going to be racist in the future?
What? Trump made me racist. Trump made me racist.
He got me, guys.
I was so entrenched in it, man. It was scary. I was like, wow, me. They got me. Oh my God, no. And once I realized, I immediately started attacking. Because I was angry.
Oh, yeah?
Because I was angry.
I bet.
I was angry. I'm like, oh no, you know what? I know how to fight back.
With the truth.
I know how to fight back.
I got to get you to evangelize, because that's how I actually, when I first came to Christ, and I told you upstairs, I only came to Christ to prove there is no God. And the minute I was able to see that I was wrong, is I went full-fledged fire. It's like, nah, I'm preaching to the rocks. Like, I'm going everywhere.
Nice.
And
it's awesome.
It's an awesome feeling because with politics, it was always like, you don't talk about that at the kitchen table.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like, I was so tired of telling people, and me and her would be the only ones to discuss this. It's like, I can't talk to anybody.
Yeah, man. It's
And
like,
now
I just want to have a conversation.
we have family. Yeah, no, and that's the thing. Like, we're not trying to convince each other. We're just comparing the facts that we have found.
And when you walk away from this conversation, whatever you feel, whatever you believe, you believe. But I've laid out the facts. I've presented them to you. Here they are.
And now we all say,
Let's go, Brandon. Hey, hey, let's go, Brandon. Hey, hey, let's go, Brandon.
nah, definitely, guys, this has been fun. God bless you guys. Got a message for you from the future president. Maybe, maybe not.
And we will make America great again. God bless you and good night.
It's gonna be
I love you.
huge.
Thank you for dropping by. Please remember to subscribe, to share, like, and to catch the next one.